On a beautiful Saturday afternoon in New England, one of the better days of the year, we welcome you to Elliott Field in Fitchburg, where the Falcons of Fitchburg State University are ready to take on the Lancers of Worcester State here on FATV. I'm John Gugerty, joined, of course, by Dan Bolak. Dan, Fitchburg State comes into this game with a record 1-1 on the season. We saw their season opening victory over Dean, a 33-28 win back on Friday, September the 2nd. Last Saturday, however, the Falcons traveled to Castleton, and it didn't go well.
Did not go to plan. 48-0, the Spartans dispatched the Falcons up in Castleton. The Falcons did get the passing game working with Logan Wilson, 14 for 23, 103 yards. The running game was a challenge. Frank Sims was the leading rusher, 7 carries for 14 yards. Matty Aguirre added 9 for 13. Sahir Gomez, leading receiver, 4 catches, 37 yards. Longest run was 11, the longest catch was 20. The Falcons got inside the Castleton 30-yard line 3 times, but just weren't able to find pay dirt after that. And 2 for 15 on third down, 5 for 8 on fourth down, and 1 for 2 on fake punts. At the end of the day, the Falcons were outgained 452 to 170. The Spartans, after losing their Week 1 game to Plymouth State, another MASCAC foe that we'll be seeing later this season, it was just a matter of Castleton wanted to put on a statement in their home opener, and a statement they put on.
A big statement made by the Spartans, but Fitchburg State will, pick themselves up, dust themselves off, get ready to come back here and play host to the Lancers of Worcester State. The last time Fitchburg played Worcester State, Dan, was probably the worst loss in what was a very bad 2021 season for Fitchburg State.
It was the closest margin of defeat, but it was the most painful loss by far, as the Falcons led 35-7 with 2:41 remaining in the first half. But the Lancers ripped off 31 unanswered points, won the game 38-35. Adam Peliquin, the second-year head coach of the Lancers now, got his first career victory with that one. Elijah Zaire McKnight had 4 carries for 77 yards and a 65-yard run, and Frank Sims 20 carries for 63 yards. You look at Worcester State in that game of some of the returners. Aaron Moses Williams, 350 yards on 19 completions with 2 touchdowns. Mike Lovelace, a change-of-pace quarterback, came in and ran the ball. It was darn near unstoppable in goal line situations. Broke the plane 4 times. And Kevon Davis, 5 catches for 165 yards in that one. We're going to be looking at Williams and Davis as 2 of the impact players for Worcester State today.
Worcester State comes in today with a record 0-2 on the season. They've been outscored 134-28 in their first 2 contests in 2022. But in fairness to the Lancers, Dan, that was against some very stiff competition.
Worcester State has very much been punching above their weight class. In week number 1, they took on WPI, that all-Worcester matchup. 58-21, the Engineers took the victory. And last week, they went out to Schenectady, New York, to take on the Dutchmen of Union, who are receiving votes in the D3 football top 25 poll. And although Worcester State was able to get an early touchdown, make it 7-7, Union just made it a very nice day. 69 unanswered points to take a 76-7 victory.
You know I'm a pro-labor man, Dan. I love to see Union doing well, but that's a little bit much.
It was a very decisive performance by the Dutchman. Aaron Moses Williams also had the passing efficiency going. 16 for 22 for 162 yards, a touchdown and 2 picks. Amir Wells had 7 carries for 17 yards. That was the best they could do on the ground. The game was very bad for Worcester State, as we'll get to in a moment. Dylan Hall, 7 catches, 101 yards. He had the 65-yard touchdown catch. Kevon Davis, 8 catches for 41 yards. Worcester was also 2 for 15 on third down. They went for it only 3 times on fourth down, converted once. Outgained 593 to 169. On the rushing battle, it was 256 to -10.
Is that good? That doesn't sound good for Worcester State.
It's not very good when you have to use the word minus to describe rushing yards.
No.
The Dutchmen led 27-7 at 1 quarter time and 54-7 at halftime.
It was not a good game, to say the least. Last time out for Worcester State, that 76-7 loss to Union. They also fell, as you said, to WPI 58-21. So both of these teams, Dan, coming off very big losses. And in my opinion, this is kind of a statement game for both teams. Both of these teams, you don't really know what to expect from them. Fitchburg State was able to pick up a victory in their home opener, their first game of the season against Dean. Dean, not exactly terribly well regarded in D3 college athletics, and then they got the doors blown off of them by Castleton. So for Fitchburg State, they're looking to come into this game and say, hey, we've actually made some significant strides from that winless season in 2021, and a victory over Worcester State would be a big statement to say that. On the other side of the equation for Worcester State, well, they're coming in 0-2. They were 3-7 last year. They got absolutely demolished in their first 2 games. And, Fitchburg State is, there's no gentle way to put this, guys. Fitchburg State is not as good at football as WPI or Union. I don't think there's anybody on the team who would object to me making that statement. So for Worcester State, this is a more winnable game for them. It's a chance to prove that they can hang with the teams in the MASCAC. I think this is going to be a good competitive football game at the least. If one team blows the doors off the other, it's going to say a lot about both of them.
And for Fitchburg State, if they can get that victory, not only do you start off conference play on the right foot, this is the conference opener for both teams, but also you avenge that 38-35 defeat a year ago.
Falcons have taken the field, and there is a first in school history. We are told the first time Fitchburg State goes mono gold jerseys and gold pants with the green helmets and, of course, the green numbers. I got to say, Dan, it's a good look. I like this.
Yeah, it's a very nice look, a very sharp look. It's a new field. It's a new season. Why not try out a new look in the second game of the campaign?
It's very Oregon University, the University of Oregon, when Nike kind of knew what they were doing with it, right? It's like Nike's just starting to mix it up a little bit. Let's try this, see if it works, and it happens to look really good. On the other side of the field, the Lancers come out onto the turf here at Elliott, and they are in the all-white, and you can tell already, folks, this is going to be a very good-looking football game. These are 2 very well-clad teams. Indeed,
and you can be watching this game in high definition. Perhaps you already are if you've gone to the education stream on fatv.org. If you are watching on your iOS or Android app, or if you are watching over the top on Roku, Apple TV, or Amazon Fire on the FATV app, we're happy to have you along. Or even if you're, and you can still happily watch the game if you're watching on Comcast Channel 9 or Verizon Channel 36.
Absolutely. Folks in Fitchburg, come on down to Elliott Field or stay right on your couch and watch FATV. Tell everyone you know outside of Fitchburg, fatv.org. Again, the FATV apps, your Roku, your Fire Stick, your Apple TV devices, etc., etc., etc. While we have a moment here before captains head to midfield for the coin toss, we'd also like to thank our underwriters. FATV's remote productions are underwritten by Workers Credit Union, Rollstone Bank and Trust, UMass Memorial Health, Health Alliance, Clinton Hospital, North End Subaru, Unitil, Minuteman Press, and the Sentinel and Enterprise. Thank you so much to them. Captains are heading to midfield for the coin toss. Fitchburg captains from left to right. Looks like Frank Sims. Matty Aguirre is wearing a number 1 penny, but he is number 23. Luke Noyes, one of the captains for the Falcons as well, along with Logan Perez. Looks like Worcester State has got Mike Mahoney.
John McMasters is another one of the captains. Aaron Moses Williams is a third.
And the final one on the far right is Noah Peterson. So 4 captains aside. Looks like the Lancers have won the toss and deferred. Dan, you see Aguirre coming out there with that number 1 penny. That's been kind of a statement for the Falcons this season. There is no number 1 on the roster, and that's by design.
I believe it is. It leads into their motto of we won, we won, we won. And we saw at the end of the Dean game, Coach Scott Sperone holding up the number 1 jersey. It seems like a goal for the team, and perhaps that's like their game helmet, their game object that they give to the most defining player from the previous week.
We will step aside for the national anthem and be right back. It is Fitchburg State University football right here on FATV.
We honor America with the playing of our national anthem.
Fitchburg State University football here on FATV. I'm John Gugerty, joined, of course, by Dan Bolak. Fitchburg State, again, coming in with a record 1-1 as they get ready to start their MASCAC schedule. Worcester State 0-2, also starting off the MASCAC slate. Should be a good game, Dan. We're expecting, again, a pretty competitive contest here.
Indeed, there are two Division III football prognosticators, if you will, those who run their ranking systems that have given an idea on what they expect out of this contest. Logan Hansen gives the Falcons a 54% chance of victory, and if you had to put a line on them, he'd say they're 1.5-point favorites. Ken Massey gives the Lancers a 57% chance of victory and has an estimated 4-point line.
Laying 4 on the road? I feel comfortable taking the Falcons, and I'll lay 1.5 points. I don't have a gambling problem. It's not legal in Massachusetts yet. When do we think that's going to be, by the way? I want to go broke betting on football already.
Soon, although I don't know if they would. I don't think you can bet on Massachusetts teams.
I don't think you can bet on. I hope you mean Massachusetts college teams, because I want to go broke betting on the Patriots. Is that serious?
Yes, I think that's what it is.
Oh, God. All right, so we are just about set for kickoff. Kyle Wall will be kicking away for the Lancers. This kick is a low end-over-end thing, taken on the near side here by Keyshawn McCurdy at about the 10-yard line. Cuts up midfield to the 20, and he is driven down hard at about the 23. Big hit there. I believe it was Caden Constant who made the tackle. And we will see the Fitchburg State offense for the first time. Falcon offense coming out on the field for their first drive. Logan Wilson is the quarterback. I believe that's Matty Aguirre in the backfield. Wilson under center. Handoff straight to the right to Aguirre, and he trips and falls. He may have been assisted in that tripping and falling. Jonah Familia was there, sophomore from Worcester.
Definitely a bit of a different look putting Aguirre in the backfield as the fullback, essentially, as they would call it in the flexbone formation. And yes, Aguirre just trying to find that hole up the middle and just stumbles and falls to the ground.
Was that the flexbone, or was that like a straight I formation with him running behind Sims, I thought?
Yeah, I didn't get a good look at the formation myself, so.
Looks like it is I formation again. Aguirre is the tailback, Sims the full. Wilson under center. Hand off to Aguirre, trying the left side this time, and he gets even less success than he did on first down. This time he's wrapped up behind the line of scrimmage. Absolutely nothing doing for the Falcons on first and second down. We'll bring it back to 3rd and 10.
Looks like he got a yard on second, so 3rd and 9 it's going to be. And yeah, the I formation is a little bit of a different look for the Falcons, but again, trying to build the playbook out, add a little more to it.
Sam Dua Jr. made that big stop for the Lancers. He's a senior from Worcester. Now 3rd and 10. Falcons still go from the I formation. Wilson straight drop. Quick pass to the near side is complete. Elijah Zaire McKnight, his first contact of the game. He's driven out of bounds and then down. Falcon sideline wants a first down, and he will get it. Great second effort after the catch.
Fitchburg did have some success last week with those swing passes to the outside. As we mentioned, Logan Wilson was 14 for 23. And when Elijah Zaire McKnight made the catch, it was just going to be a matter of getting those extra yards after the catch, working for that to get the extra few yards required for the first down. He's knocked out of bounds at the 35, and that's good enough. A 10-yard completion on 3rd and 9.
That really didn't look like it was going to amount to much for Fitchburg State, but a good job by Elijah Zaire McKnight to get that first down. Now 1st and 10 Falcons. They'll go shotgun for the first time. McKnight in motion. Fake the handoff to him. Wilson will keep it to himself. Good blocking. He's got a hold of the right side. There's a couple of flags in the backfield. I think I know why he had that big running lane, Dan.
It looked like a big wrestling match on the near side between two players. And yeah.
It's illegal to pull the trunks in wrestling too. So if it's illegal in pro wrestling, it's probably illegal in football. Hold is indicated against number 60, and I think you can see it right up there at the top of your screen. Frank Apoku was guilty of a hold, so that'll back the Falcons up 10 yards from the spot of the foul. They will have to give it another go on what will be 1st and 20. Ball spotted back at their own 25-yard line. So Fitchburg gets 1 first down, but then they immediately give all the yardage back. Again, it'll be 1st and 20 for Fitchburg State. We're less than 2.5 minutes into the first quarter here from Elliott Field.
In the first 2 weeks of conference play, if you will, the Falcons have been the most penalized team in the MASCAC, averaging 9 penalties a game.
I formation behind Wilson. This time he'll give the ball to the fullback Frank Sims. He gets across the 30. They're going to spot him down at about the 31. It's a gain of 6 for him.
A healthy 6-yard gain on first down, running a sort of flexbone style run there in the sense that it was a very quick handoff to Sims, just driving through the line, trying to impose their will and create some yardage. Obviously, a little more to get. I mean, it would have been a great 1st and 10 run. A 1st and 20 run, well,
if you run 6 yards 4 times, you get 20 yards and some change, so. Back to the eye on 2nd down for the Falcons. Play fake this time. Wilson rolls to his right under pressure. He is going to be sacked back down at the 23-yard line. Logan Wilson was able to avoid Sam Dua Jr., but he was not able to get away from Jonah Familia.
That was the challenge there, scrambling, looking for some time, had a little bit of time, just waiting a little longer, trying to get out of the hit from Dua. But as you mentioned, there's Jonah Familia there to follow on and complete the sack. And there goes those 6 yards.
Falcons were going with a very big formation there on 2nd and 14, Dan. They went with the I formation, so they've got 2 running backs, but they also had 2 tight ends on the field. There was only 1 real downfield threat in Elisha Zaire McKnight. He was covered, so there was nothing Wilson could do with that football. Now 3rd down, quick pass out to the far side left is complete, but this is only going to be a few yards before he's driven down. That's Kevin Burns who made the tackle.
Jonathan Potts had the catch for the Falcons, trying to hit the swing pass to the far side. Or they'll say it was Cohen. No, that's definitely, well, that's 18. That's definitely 18.
Yeah, it was Ponce who made the catch. It was Burns who made the tackle for Worcester State. So Fitchburg's offense is able to get 1 first down, but that is it. They will come on to almost certainly kick it away. I know the Falcons are tricky, but it's 4th and 17 on your own 25-yard line, and you're in the first quarter. You're punting the ball here, right? DJ Farr does indeed get the kick away. It's a low line drive taken in at about the 40-yard line and returned across midfield into Falcon territory. Finally brought down at about the 44 by Drew Von Klock, one of my favorite names to ever call in the history of broadcasting.
Drew Von Klock, 30-year sophomore from Walpole. He's the leading kick returner for the Lancers. In fact, the Lancers had only, I think, had 1 punt return going into this week. And, well, you can make it 2 now.
So Worcester State will set up with excellent field position, 1st and 10 at the Falcon 44-yard line. We'll see the Lancer offense for the first time. We've already talked about their quarterback, Aaron Moses Williams. Amir Wells will line up in the backfield. He's to the left of Williams, and he gets the carry on 1st down. Takes it to the right side. Good initial blocking, but he can't really break into the 2nd level. It's a gain of about 4. It'll be 2nd and 6.
Amir Mills, the 5th-year senior out of Boston, had 17 carries for 70 yards in those 2 contests against those very tough opponents in WPI and Union.
Lancers go no huddle, 2nd down and 6 from the Falcon 40. Aaron Moses Williams takes the high shotgun snap, hands off to Wells going up the middle. He's dragged down by the ankles and finally hit at the 35 after a gain of 5. So it'll be 3rd and 1 for Worcester State. Got to think this is 4-down territory for the Lancers, Dan.
Yeah, they're definitely in that maroon zone there with only 1 yard to gain, 2 shots to get it. Yeah, that's definitely 4-down territory to me.
3rd down and 1. Worcester State will stay in the shotgun. They've got 3 wide receivers and a tight end. Amir Mills is in the backfield once again, and he gets the carry. He's hit at the line of scrimmage and driven backward. Worcester State has 2 tries to get 1 yard on their first attempt. They don't do it. Cam Minette making the hit for Fitchburg State. We'll take a look at this one again. And you see, Dan, he just comes in completely unblocked.
Well played there by the sophomore from Winchendon, the former Murdoch Blue Devil. We called his brother last week.
Lancers bringing an extra running back here on 4th down, but they'll stay in the shotgun. 4th and just a yard for Worcester State. Handoff goes up the middle this time, and he's got the first down before being driven back. That's Nico Holmes with the carry. Big number 33 brings a little more muscle to the hard run. He only needed one, so the fact that he got two, well, he did twice as much as he needed to. First down, Worcester State.
5'10", 205 from Mansfield is Nico Holmes. Only had 9 carries for 12 yards in the first 2 weeks of the campaign.
Dan, that was about as violent a tackle as you can get while still technically being legal. Holmes was wrapped up and bent over backwards, but he did get the first down. Falcons bringing the pressure now on first down. Williams has to scramble. He's going to keep it himself. He's across the 30, gets a block across the 25, stumbling forward. He's going to be very close to the first down indicator. The officials will stop the clock. So I think they're going to give him the first down. It's a very good scramble by Aaron Moses-Williams. Take another look.
He's a very good scrambling quarterback. 17 carries for 44 yards, of course. That includes all the sacks that he may have taken over the year. The fifth-year senior from Springfield. Very good on his feet. A mobile quarterback able to create a first down on that.
Gets up to the 23-yard line where the Lancers will have it 1st and 10. This time it's Mells running to the right side, and he's going to be dragged down pretty much as soon as he crosses the line of scrimmage. Cam Manette there once again. So the 5th-year senior Amir Mells from Boston, not able to do anything there.
Just trying to get out to that right side, and Manette had it well read. One of those key factors on the Falcons D-line, one of those returning sophomores along with Logan Perez who've really helped bulk up that line.
Now it's Holmes in the backfield, play fake to him, pass over the middle, he's complete. Big hit as soon as he makes the catch, but able to hang on to it is Dylan Hall. Credit Marcus Moss with the tackle.
Close to the first down yardage.
But it's still a good gain for Worcester State. Call it about 8 yards. It'll be 3rd and 1.
All the team leader in receiving yards, but not the team leader in catches, interestingly enough. Sophomore from Plainfield, Connecticut. Criminal justice major, able to get that catch there to bring it to a 3rd down.
3rd down and 1. Lancers send a man in motion. Sets up as an extra tight end. High snap, but Williams brings it down. Handoff goes up the middle to Holmes, and he's got a first down. So once again, they go to the bigger back in the short yardage situation. Nico Holmes, the sophomore, listed 5'10", 205. He's able to use his low, thick frame, shall we say? Is that a kind descriptor?
Lower the center of gravity.
There you go. That's the ticket. Now on 1st and 10, they'll bring back Amir Mells. Actually, the sticks are down, so this is 1st and goal from the 10. Williams wants it all. Pass to the end zone is high and incomplete. Intended for Dion Osei-Sarpong. First time we've called his name today. It'll be 2nd and goal for the Lancers.
Osei-Sarpong, a 3rd-year sophomore from Holden, attended Wachusett Regional High School. The Mountaineers, is a solid standout player for them. Was just in Wachusett last night.
How'd that go?
Scoreboard didn't work again.
Fitchburg offense didn't work again.
There was that too.
2nd down and goal for the Lancers. Handoff goes to Mells straight up the middle. He's got great blocking across the 5-yard line before being dragged down at about the 3. Nice big hole for him before he's finally hit. Calvin Guillaume in among the Falcons making the tackle.
Just solid blocking by Worcester's O-line, able to open up that hole, get him to the 2nd level before Guillaume was able to stop him. 7-yard gain on 2nd down.
So now 3rd down and goal for Worcester State. They're at the Falcon 3-yard line. This is a new quarterback, Mike Lovelace, in for the Lancers. We mentioned we might see a little bit of that change of pace. Lovelace takes the shotgun snap. His pass to the near side is caught. Touchdown, Lancers. Just like that, Kevon Davis makes it look easy, and Worcester State has the lead.
We did say that Lovelace was unstoppable in goal line situations last year when these two teams met, but Lovelace only attempted 1 pass last year. He finds Kevon Davis, who is, I think, the most dangerous weapon that Worcester State has at their disposal, has a team-high 11 catches, make it 12 now, and his 2nd touchdown of the season, the sophomore from Utica, New York.
Now Santi Rodriguez, who you may remember from Leominster, is on to attempt the extra point. His kick is up and good. So with 5:29 to play here in the 1st quarter, Worcester State has taken a 7-0 lead. Talked about how this might be a statement game for both teams, Dan. Worcester State certainly said something with their first possession.
Worcester State did a very good job in moving the ball along. 2 for 3 on 3rd down, 1 for 1 on 4th down. Also had that short field to benefit from, just 44 yards required to find 7 points.
Falcon offense will search for an answer. Talked about the 38-35 victory last season for Worcester State. The first half of that game, Fitchburg State was able to move the ball pretty much at will on the ground, but then Worcester State made an adjustment and shut the Falcon offense down. It seems like they decided to make the adjustment pregame this time.
Yep, they did fairly solidly. The Falcons did get that 1 first down, but that holding penalty really put a damper on that drive.
Once it's 1st and 20, especially if you don't quite have the ability to go downfield that much, it limits what you can do offensively. Falcons had to kick it away. Lancers were wound up with short field, and they took advantage. Kick is taken in by McCurry. It's about to cross the 25, rather. It's a player's helmet down. And finally, Keyshawn McCurdy is down at about the 38-yard line. Can't tell who lost his hat. Oh, I think
it was Quasi Boache.
Yeah, it was indeed Quasi Boache. Got to tighten that chin strap next time you're on the field. Can't see where it came loose there, but it turned out to be a pretty good return for Keyshawn McCurdy. Falcon offense will take over at their own 30, call it the 34-yard line, I think.
Falcons have 2 dangerous weapons to return kicks in both Keyshawn McCurdy and Elijah Zaire McKnight. And Zaire McKnight had the better time last week on the returns as we get a penalty here.
Falcons guilty of delay of game on your first possession of the on your first play of the drive. That's not great. You've had a while to think about what you're going to do the first time you get the ball back. It'll back Fitchburg State up 5 yards. Now call it 1st and 15. High formation behind Wilson. This time they'll try the flea flicker. Ball is loose, and Wilson just falls on it. So Fitchburg State knew that Worcester was all over that short running game. They tried to take advantage, hit a big bomb, but the toss back by Aguirre just off the mark.
The underhand shovel back and did not get nearly enough strength on that one to get it back to Wilson. There was also the pressure coming from the Worcester State D-line that hurried that throw off, and in the end, all Wilson can do is eat it.
He tried to toss it as he was turning rather than turn and then toss. Doing it all in one motion did not work out. It's a big loss. Now call it 2nd down and 23. Run to the near side for Aguirre, trying to turn the corner. He's dragged down by the ankles at about the 24-yard line. Not much of a gain there for him, but they'll give him a few yards.
Just trying to get to the near side flank, trying to find the opening. You see one of the Lancers tracking it well.
They'll give him about 3 yards, call it 3rd and, what's that, 19? Yeah, that looks like about 19. Falcons have to get out to their own 44-yard line. Fitchburg State's offense has gone backwards the last 2 times they've had the ball. Did get 1 first down on their first possession, but then immediately backed up. Now facing 3rd and 1 again. Quick pass to the near side, try to set up the receiver screen. It's complete, but really nothing doing there. Zahir Gomez got absolutely leveled by Turnbull Sturgis. We'll take another look at this one.
Makes the catch, trying to get upfield and just demolished. It's Jaden DeCruz who makes the tackle, freshman from Providence, Rhode Island.
My apologies.
Has a brother on the team, Jalen DeCruz.
You were wondering pregame, Dan, why Jaden DeCruz is listed as a tight end despite wearing number 56. The answer, he's not a tight end. TJ Farr on to kick it away for the Falcons. This time they'll try to kick it away from the returner, get a few more yards on that punt. Ball goes out of bounds just across midfield. There is a flag down, however, so we will check the penalty here. Officials seem to be, I thought they were asking Worcester State what they wanted, but maybe they're just conferring. I didn't see anything really amiss, did you?
I think I may have heard something along the lines that Farr might have gotten run into.
Oh. Falcons might want to kick it again, try to get another 5 yards out of it.
Holding. Kicking team, number 12. 10-yard penalty added on to the end of the kick. First down, Worcester.
Or Fitchburg can get called for holding again.
Or Fitchburg could get called for holding again. So 10 yards from the spot the kick went out of bounds. I believe that's going to mean, Dan, that once again Worcester State will have it in Falcon territory to start their drive. You remember when we were saying good competitive football game, and if one of these teams gets the doors blown off of them, it's going to say a lot about both of them? I remember.
Well, the indiscipline is not helping Fitchburg right now.
No, it is not.
Lancers first and 10 from the Fitchburg State 48.
Slightly worse field position than when they started their first drive, but it's the 48 instead of the 44.
See there, Coach Scott Sperone is absolutely beside himself here on the near sideline. He does not understand the call. He's still on the field. Falcons are also late getting an 11th player on the field. Now we're ready for play. First and 10 Lancers at the Falcon 48-yard line. Aaron Moses Williams back in at quarterback for Worcester State. They'll try the jet sweep to the near side. Pretty good game before being brought down. There is a flag, however. Drew Von Klock with the carry.
There is a flag down.
Flag came from the head linesman on the near side, indicating that it's going to be a hold against the Lancers.
Holding, number 82 of the offense. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down.
And DeVerde, the guilty party.
DeVerde, third-year sophomore from Sterling, also a Wachusett grad. And Worcester could commit holding penalties too.
How about that? This will back the Lancers up. It is enforced from the spot of the foul, but as it happens, the foul occurred pretty much at the line of scrimmage. So it'll be first and 20 for Worcester State. First snap of the game for the Lancers that they've taken on the right side of the field. Aaron Moses Williams takes the pass to the near side. That is complete, coming over the middle. Nice big gain on first down for Worcester State. Kevon Davis with another catch. Give him about 13, 14 yards. Just a quick post here on the near side. Gets 15. Worcester State hurries back up to the line. Second down and 5, back in Falcon territory. Williams' quick pass to the near side is complete to Davis. He's got the first down already. Across the 35 before being stood up. I think they'll give him forward progress to the 33. And then we get some extra pushing and shoving and, hey, what are you doing for lunch? I don't know. That sort of thing.
It was just, Davis just waited at the line of scrimmage for the ball, and none of the Falcons were tracking him. There was no one within 5 yards of him when he made that catch, and so he had a lot of room to run.
Yeah, very soft coverage there by Fitchburg State. Good job by Worcester to see it and take advantage. Quick pass to the near side is enough to pick up a first down. Now taking it to the far side is Mells. He's into the second level. He's got a first down and more across the 20 to the 18-yard line. Worcester State's offense just cannot be stopped right now.
Worcester State's offense has historically, over the last year or so, been fairly solid. It's just been a matter of the defense has had a lot of challenges in keeping their side in games. However, as it stands right now, the defense hasn't been having that much of an issue, and the offense is having no issues at all.
Nico Holmes in as a running back, but they will throw for the end zone, wide open. Touchdown Lancers, but hold everything. There's a flag on the field.
There's a flag on the play.
The flag was thrown pretty much after the catch was made by the head linesman in the backfield. As it stands, it's a touchdown catch for Drew Von Klock. But we will see what the foul is. Now the referee's going to check over with Worcester, so I think this is against the Falcons.
Ineligible receiver, downfield, offense. 10-yard penalty, previous spot.
Well, that's what I get for speculating.
Play the down.
Someone was downfield that shouldn't have been downfield.
Correction, 5-yard penalty.
Can't really tell who it was. It was a beautifully thrown ball by Aaron Moses Williams and a great catch by Drew Von Klock, but the ineligible man downfield negates it all. Now it'll be first and 15 for the Lancers. Williams up back to pass over the middle. That pass is knocked down, almost intercepted. Marcus Moss got his hands on it. Was intended for Jordan Maurice. We'll take another look at this one.
That quick throw over the middle. You can see Moss just getting his hand out there, knocking away from Maurice, preventing what would have been a sure touchdown.
Jordan Cummings was also there on the coverage for Fitchburg State. Now 2nd down and 15 for the Lancers. They still have Nico Holmes in the backfield, and this is Holmes with the carry. He's got about 5.
Nico Holmes, the ball carrier.
It'll be 3rd and 10 for him, and already you see Amir Mells checking back in.
See, they tried to change the pace up a little bit. It looks like Worcester State's pretty comfortable in throwing the football. At that time, they wanted to try to go to the ground, see if Holmes could get some yardage there. Makes it a manageable 10, but still 3rd down.
Williams has been very impressive thus far, so you can understand why the Lancers would be comfortable throwing. They will do so here on 3rd down. Williams looking to the end zone. That pass is almost broken up, but instead it is caught. Touchdown Lancers, Drew Von Klock. Dan, it looked like Jordan Cummings got a hand in there. Take a look at it again.
So throw over the middle, maybe tipped there by Cummings, but it goes right into the hands of Von Klock. You know, he had that touchdown call back on the ineligible man downfield, but that may have been a more impressive catch in a sense.
It was a very impressive catch made by Drew Von Klock. Now Santi Rodriguez will attempt the extra point again. It is up and through. We have not yet played 1 quarter of football here at Elliott Field, and already Worcester State is up by 2 scores, 14-0.
Worcester State has had short field position to work with, and they've taken advantage of it and then some. They're now at 102 total yards of offense, and they've already got 14 points to show for it. The Falcons on 9 plays of just 15 yards in their account.
Falcons have been doing a lot of running the football or quick passes to the sidelines. They haven't really gone downfield. You think they were going to on that one flea flicker, you know, the first play of their last drive, probably looking to hit a big ball and loosen Worcester State's defense up a little bit. But now, Dan, I know it's only the first quarter, and you don't want to totally throw your game plan out the window. You don't want to definitely get away from what you do on offense, but I think Fitchburg State needs to air it out a little bit. Worcester State is very comfortable crowding the line of scrimmage right now.
In the second half of last year's game, it was shutting down the run game, and the Falcons couldn't get the passing game working at all. They have a more potent passing game now than they did last year, and they're going to have to use it, I think, to beat this Worcester State team. Worcester State's happily using their pass game to beat Fitchburg State.
High end over end kickoff taken in by Elijah Zaire McKnight. He's trying to get some blockers. He's across the 30 to the 35 before being brought down at about the 37-yard line. So Fitchburg State's offense will have pretty good field position. And Dan, you mentioned that the Falcons have a more potent passing game this season. Is that a bit like homeopathy, where if you have 2 drops in the solution, it's totally more effective? Or is it actually, you know, potent?
I don't have a good response there.
Okay. I would apologize to any homeopaths I've offended, but you're homeopaths. You deserve to be offended. 1st and 10 Falcons at about their own 37-yard line as we approach the end of the first quarter here from Elliott Field. Logan Wilson will go from the shotgun. Now Aguirre goes in motion, but they will hand it off to Frank Sims. Mix up the formation, but the play call stays the same. It's a run straight up the middle, doesn't get much. Across the line of scrimmage at least, maybe a gain of a yard.
See a bit of that flex bone inspiration with Aguirre going in motion and Sims taking that handoff up the middle. But in the end, Worcester State's steal line keeping the hole shut. Just 2 yards gained on 1st down.
2nd and 8 for the Falcons. They'll go shotgun once again. Sims in the backfield. Wilson pumps, rolls to his left. He's going to keep it himself. There's a flag down in the backfield. Logan Wilson's got himself a 1st down, but we will check the penalty.
Logan Wilson with the ball carrier.
Dan, I just heard a very interesting rumor here in the press box.
That would be.
Apparently, Gary Delicia is on the premises.
Interesting.
That's what I heard.
The greatest quarterback in Fitchburg State history.
I think you can
There's
say
no
that.
flag for blocking below the waist. Number 4 is inside the tackle box.
So the officials decide to pick up the flag. They were going to get Frank Sims for that flag, for that block right there. We saw him called for that a couple of times 2 weeks ago, Dan. But they decided that is a legal block inside the tackle box.
And so the issue with Sims doing that, getting caught for that twice last week against Dean, was simply because he was not inside the tackle box. That's good to know. We're going to see if they can get this play off in time.
Logan Wilson's run was enough to get a first down. This time they will send a man in motion, but the whistles will kill the play.
That's the end of the first quarter.
So with the ball being spotted right around midfield, they're not going to have to do much to turn around. Just everybody kind of turn around, back up, 4 or 5 yards. We'll start going right to left for the second quarter of action. But Dan, from the Fitchburg State perspective, this has to be a very worrying first quarter here against Worcester State.
It's definitely the challenge right now. It's like, and I remember the last time Worcester State was here in 2018, all of their touchdowns were on drives that started inside Fitchburg State territory. And, well, that's something that they are duplicating here in 2022, 4 years later. Aaron Moses-Williams was the quarterback that game, too, because he was a freshman back then. And now he's here as a graduate student, 4th and final year of eligibility. And you could see the veteran poise out of number 8 in white.
He has been very impressive, standing tall in the pocket, delivering very accurate passes. Drew Von Klock has been very impressive as a receiver as well. Worcester State's offense has looked very potent here on their first 2 possessions. But of course, the short field does help.
Now the Falcons will be going from right to left in this second quarter of play. Well, that's the hot end of the field, so we'll see if they can keep the fire burning. A throw out to the far side, Elijah Zaire McKnight with a cut move, try to get around his man and able to move his way to the Lancer 45-yard line.
I'm not even sure that was a forward pass, Dan. I know it was intended to be.
No, I could definitely see that as a lateral in a sense. It looked like that pass did go backwards a little bit. Gained a good chunk of yardage there and brings it to a second and manageable 3.
First time today the Falcons have had the ball on the Lancers side of the field.
They'll go I formation. They have Zaire McKnight as the tailback. Don't think I've seen him there before. They go to Sims. He's going to get the first down on the far side of the field to the numbers. Just past the 35-yard line, a first down.
It's the first time today, Dan, that Fitchburg is able to get a big chunk of yardage in the ground game. If the Falcons can do that, if they can move the ball on the ground, they don't necessarily have to chuck it deep too often. You're going to need your defense to get stops at some point. That's true no matter how many points you put up. So right now for Fitchburg State, if the offense can take care of their business, they are not out of this game yet.
The 34-yard line, first and 10. One receiver to either side, and it's going to be Zaire McKnight as the tailback going up the middle, getting to the 30-yard line, give him 4. Give the tackles to Sam Dua Jr. and John McMasters III.
We've mentioned so many times, Dan, that Easy McKnight really, it's a different Fitchburg offense when he's on the field. You don't necessarily have to incorporate him on every play, but just having that threat, having that big play capability really does give the Falcons an extra dynamic. We saw it last year when he wasn't on the field, how they struggled without him.
And Zaire McKnight will take the pitch out to the left side, finds a hole, runs into a Lancer, continues going past the 25-yard line, and he's pretty close to a first down. He's close enough for a first down.
I don't think it's a coincidence, Dan, that the Falcons are getting the ball in number 3's hands more on this drive than they had on their first 2 possessions, and they already have more first downs and more yardage on this drive than they had on their first 2 possessions combined. Freddie likes it.
Elijah Zaire McKnight, he is listed as a running back, but they've used him more as a wide receiver, essentially. So he is right at home in the backfield, the sophomore from Tracy, California, or the junior from Tracy, California. It's a second year on the team. And now, pitch back here is that flea flicker they're going to try. Logan Wilson with the throw downfield. Jump ball for it. It is incomplete. Trying to find Jonathan Potts into the double coverage I think Worcester had back there. And the ball ends up hitting the ground before it was secured.
They try the flea flicker once again. This time Wilson's able to get the pass off. It was so high and such a floating pass. You're working on such a short field with that play. That flea flicker is usually designed to get like big chunks of yards, a 30, 40-yard pass. This time you had to get it into the end zone. You couldn't go beyond the back line. As a result, it was just a high floating ball. Now, Wilson doesn't have necessarily the arm strength to deliver a 25-yard bullet.
And looking at the replay again, well, we'll talk about that in a moment. Another deep ball right side of the field, and a jump ball for that one is incomplete. Looking for Marvin Jean-Baptiste. He wasn't able to hold on to it. I was going to say, looking at that first down pass, it looked like the player who had the best chance of catching that was actually the Worcester State defender, because the incomplete pass was called because he couldn't hold on to the interception.
And this one basically became a jump ball, but Kevin Burns was right there all over it. Now, Dan, Fitchburg has gone deep a couple times now, trying to loosen the Lancers up. Gotta think this is 4-down territory for the Falcons. But ideally for them, they would get something positive here on 3rd down.
3rd and 10, swing pass left side, complete to Ponce. Ponce going to the boundary on the near side. Looks like he'll be down around the 20-yard line to get some yards, but they're gonna need a few more. Give him the 21, it's only a 3-yard gain.
A little surprised to see the Falcons go back to the air after the 2 incomplete passes on 3rd and 10. The Falcons said he got the field goal.
Looks like they're going to try a field goal.
My goodness.
It's been a while since we've seen a field goal for the Falcons here at Elliott Field. It'd be a 38-yard field goal.
Carson Russell is on to attempt.
So Russell, a freshman from Woodinville, Washington, from 38 yards, left to right. Kick is up, and it is good. The Falcons will get on the board with 11:17 to go in the second quarter, 14-3.
It was a 38-yard field goal. It felt like it had about 39.5 yards a leg, but hey, it got there.
It's the first field goal the Falcons have made since the season opener against Dean College last year, when Matt Kimball kicked 2 field goals for the green and gold. And you'd have to go back a few more years to find the last time we saw a good field goal from the Falcons at Elliott.
I cannot remember the last time I saw the Falcons hit a 38-yard field goal.
It's been a little while.
So Carson Russell, the freshman from Woodinville, Washington, as you said, Dan, comm media major. All right, we can feel proud about that.
He was a late add to the roster, was not available for week 1 against Dean. But as you can see, he has the strongest leg of all. The secret weapon.
Gets the Falcons on the board. Of course, now it's back in the defense's hand. This is still a 2-score game. And hey, the tricky Falcons are at it again.
And try the onside kick. But it was hauled in by the Lancers, and that was Michael Cavallo Jr., the freshman linebacker, who was able to snare that one. I was thinking in my head, now they're going to be able to kick it away. Worcester State's going to start with back in their own territory, but they go for the onside kick. They try the trickeration, and good on Carvalho for getting to that ball. And it's the same field position as last time.
If the book isn't out on Fitchburg State that you have to watch them when they're kicking off, it's just never getting out. This is 2 seasons in a row now the Falcons have been doing this.
So Worcester State will have great field position to start. That's the risk you take on 1st down. It's Mells cutting back up the middle of the line, across the Falcon logo, to around the 44-yard line, a gain of 4 on 1st.
Now, obviously, you understand the motivation. You only got a field goal on that last drive. Your offense is starting to get a little bit of momentum behind it, so you want another opportunity with the ball. But now you've really backed your defense up. They're going to need to get a stop at some point, so you might as well try to get it now, I guess.
I don't hate the gamble. 2nd down, 6 to go. Williams will have the handoff to Mells, going out to the far side, and he's able to get a lot of yardage on the second effort. And there is a penalty flag on the play, so we'll see how much of this counts. As we're mentioning, the Worcester State quarterback, Aaron Moses Williams, his first name is Aaron Moses.
That's right. So it is Aaron Moses Williams, as opposed
Holding,
to Aaron.
number 50 of the offense. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Replay. 2nd down.
Moses Williams.
Ryan Justin, the Fitchburg graduate, the Fitchburg native, the 4th-year junior for the Lancers, will back his side back up into, no, not quite into the Lancer territory, because it was from the spot of the foul, which was late in the run. So we'll only go back to the Falcon 49-yard line. 3 receivers to the right side for Williams. He throws over the middle. It is caught and wrestled down to the ground is Jordan Maurice.
Calvin Yale made the hit pretty much as soon as Maurice made the catch.
Maurice, sophomore from Salem. That's Salem, Massachusetts, graduated from Bishop Fenwick.
3rd and 6.
Brings up 3rd down, 6 to go. Lancers are 3 for 4 on 3rd down.
The one time they didn't convert on 3rd, they just made it on 4th.
And Williams throws right side, low ball. Did he catch that one?
They're going to call it a catch on the field. The head linesman threw a flag pretty much at the snap, indicating to me that there may have been an illegal formation by the Lancers. The call on the field is a completed pass, which would be good enough for a 1st down. So we'll see if this one stands.
The ruling on the field was a catch. During the play, holding, offsides, defense. That penalty's declined. 1st down.
So the Falcons were offside, but Worcester State still got the 1st down.
It was a free play, as it turned out. Now we'll have another look at it. Throw to the right side, the diving catch made by the Lancers. It was Marcus Bass, the freshman from Hudson, the former Hawk, with the 1st down. Bit of a high snap, but now taken in and handed off to Nico Holmes, to the right side of the line to the hash marks. Taken down around the 32-yard line.
Nico Holmes, the ball carrier.
Worcester State's offense once again on the move. They've been able to move the ball pretty much at will against this Falcon defense.
That's Fitchburg State hit.
And once again, the Lancers will hurry back up to the line.
5 yards gained on 1st down. Get out of the shotgun, 2 receivers to the left side. And 2 to the right. Holmes in the backfield. He'll take the carry. He's going to be wrapped up immediately by Luke Noyes.
Short gain.
It's going to be a very small gain, brings it to 3rd and 4.
That time Noyes was able to break into the backfield. See him coming from the left side of the screen here. Good, solid, fundamental tackle. He wraps up Holmes and drives him down to the ground. Not much he could do about that. Call it now 3rd and 4 for the Lancers.
Out of the shotgun, they'll bring Mells back in as the one running back to the right of Williams. Take the snap and throw right side, and it's incomplete. A high throw there for Maurice.
I think that was the first really inaccurate pass we've seen from Aaron Moses Williams today. As you said, Dan, he was trying to hit Maurice. We'll take another look at this one again. He's got plenty of time to throw. He was under a little bit of pressure just as he was getting rid of it. Ball floated on him a little bit and fell incomplete. But now 4th and 5 at about the 30-yard line. Worcester State will keep the offense on the field and go for it.
So as Aaron Moses Williams barks out the signals, it's 4 receivers and 3 to the left on this 4th down play. They last converted, and they'll call timeout, it looks like. take a little bit of time to talk about it. Play clock was running down. They may have been trying to draw the Falcons off sides. Have our first time out of the game with 8 minutes to go in the second quarter of play. It's Fitchburg State 3, Worcester State 14.
Danny, why don't you see if we can get any out-of-town scores? Does that seem like something that we can do?
Yep, so.
While you're doing that, getting that all set up, I will let folks know that FATV's remote productions are underwritten by Workers Credit Union, Rollstone Bank and Trust, UMass Memorial Health, Health Alliance, Clinton Hospital, North End Subaru, Unitil, Minuteman Press, and of course the Sentinel and Enterprise. We thank them for their support.
Indeed, so the out-of-town scoreboard yesterday, Westfield State fell to Westcon 34-20 in the first MassCat game of the season. Kicking off at noon was Bridgewater and Plymouth. They are halfway through the second quarter. It's a 7-7 ball game up in New Hampshire. At 1 o'clock, the last non-conference game among MassCat teams, Mass Maritime hosting Anna Maria. That starts at 1, and Framingham State at UMass Dartmouth at 1:30. Those are the top two teams in the MassCat preseason poll meeting in the first week of the season.
It's a heck of a game right there.
So same formation for the Lancers on 4th down, 4 to go. Williams throws over the middle, incomplete! Marcus Moss had the coverage as he tried to find DeVerde, could not hold on to it, and the Falcons take over on downs.
That was a tremendously thrown ball by Aaron Moses Williams, but it was simply fantastic coverage by Marcus Moss. He was able to get his hand in there, break that pass up, a tremendous individual defensive effort, forcing the turnover on downs. Textbook defensive back play by Marcus Moss.
Falcons will start on their own 30-yard line. A lot in the backfield that time on 1st down. It'll be the handoff to Sims, and he gets a good gain on 1st.
Falcons had Sims, Aguirre, and McKnight in the backfield. Meanwhile, away from the play, Ryan McDonald continued his block on, I believe it was Jaden Karen, but he held that block for, roughly 30 seconds longer than you're typically supposed to hold a block. So.
And there was some dissatisfaction expressed after that. But again, they'll go 3 in the backfield. And I think they go to Sims again. And this time not as successful as the first one. A gain of 1 after a gain of 6 on 1st down.
Falcons have evidently decided that they don't need any stinking wide receivers. So they've got 2 tight ends and 3 running backs on the field right now.
Hard commit to the triple option. This is more than a triple option at that point, a quadruple option?
It could be. There's lots of stuff you could do. Throwing's not among the things you could do, but, you know, I suppose they could theoretically pass it.
And they go back to that heavy run formation. And here's another one of those options. It's Wilson who keeps it himself, gets to the 40. That's good enough.
Dan, I'm not entirely sure I saw this play correctly. Let's take a look at it again. The Falcons just had 3 guys in the backfield, and Logan Wilson still managed to play action fake to nobody. I didn't want to say that until I saw the replay because I didn't believe my eyes, but they just did a play fake to nobody with 3 guys in the backfield. But to their credit, it worked.
They got 4 yards and a 1st down. So Ryan McDonald's helmet came off, by the way, on that last one, so he's got to come off for a play. And so same formation, 2 tight ends, 3 backs. Aguirre will take it this time, and they'll start the rugby maul, and it will peter out at the 44-yard line. 3 yards on 1st.
You know, Dan, here's the thing for Fitchburg State. If you go with the I formation, your first couple of possessions rather, and it doesn't work, you have 2 options. Well, you have 3 options. The first is to continue doing the thing that's not working, which is not the option they took. So you can either change up your formation, try to spread it out wide, chuck the ball downfield, and that's really not what the Falcons are good at. Let's be honest with ourselves. So they've decided to go in the complete opposite direction. Let's go heavier.
And so it's Zaire McKnight who will take the pitch out, and he makes his way across midfield. Give him a 1st down.
And listen, this is why I'm up here yakking about stuff instead of down there on the sidelines calling plays. I would not have made the decision to go with a heavier, bigger, even more ground game focused formation. But you know what? It's working.
This has got to be inspiration of Scott Sperrone's time at Springfield College, where they run the triple option with regularity. They are a ground-based school, have been for a very long time.
Yeah, do it.
And how much experience do you think Worcester State has against a team that's lining up in the full commit-to-run formation? Whistles.
I think they're going to get Sims for a false start. And that is the call. Now comes the drawback. You know, it's great when it works. If you can get 4 yards a carry, you're going to be just fine until you start committing penalties. You see right there, Sims lined up as, what would you call that, the first fullback? So you've got like a fullback, a halfback, and a tailback at this point, I guess. I don't know.
3 quarterback?
There you go. An 8th back? That doesn't sound right.
So they line up again in this formation, and Zaire McKnight gets it back across midfield. It's a 3-yard gain on 1st and 15.
I think if you're playing Madden, this is just called full house, right?
I think a full house formation puts the tight ends. Actually, no, that probably.
Maybe? Who knows?
It's a very interesting formation, is what it is. And it's definitely one of those formations that seems more out of the early 20th century than the early 21st century.
That's true. And yet, again, for the most part, it's working.
So play action, and Wilson's going to scramble to the right side, try to find a receiver downfield. Nobody got open, and he is brought down for a sack.
Jamison Metcalf made the hit, the sophomore from Leicester. We'll take another look at this again. They try to go play action. They've had so much success on the ground. Wilson can't find anything to his left. There is nobody to his right. And as you can see right there, he had Metcalf barreling down on top of him. And Jamison Metcalf was able to make the hit.
So you try that formation out there, and it doesn't seem like it's got any passing opportunities, but they try to make one work there.
If you're going to throw the ball out of that formation, it's going to be with play action. And hey, they tried it. It just didn't work.
And now they go 4 receivers, 3 to the right side. Wilson is going to have to scramble, step up. Can he get a pass off? Instead, he gets hit by 2 Lancers, ultimately does get a gain of a yard or 2.
I think Wilson had a chance to scramble for a pretty good gain if he committed to the run earlier. You'll take a look at it again here. The Lancers have Lane Benton barreling down, and right there you see Wilson pulls up and decides to look downfield one more time before committing to the run. And because of that little hesitation, Benton was able to wrap him up. Another Lancer was able to come in and deliver the hit. And the Falcons will wind up having to kick it away.
So TJ Farr into punt.
Presumably,
he's only standing 10 yards downfield, gets the punt off, taken in by Von Klock inside the 20-yard line, trying to make his way out to the near side, gets 10 yards all's told. To the 30-yard line for the first time, Worcester State is going to have to start a drive in their own territory with 2:34 to go in the first half. It's 14-3 to the Lancers.
Pretty good work by both teams, really, on this punt return. You see Von Klock here tries to extend the play as much as he can. He's looking for a lane, looking to turn the corner, finally takes it out of bounds when he can't do anything. So it's a great job by the Falcons special team unit, keeping the edge, keeping their containment, not allowing Von Klock to break into the open field. But on the other hand, you know, he took that ball in at about the 16 and he still got it out to the 30. So you'll take that if you're Worcester State.
So 1st and 10 for the Lancers from their own 30-yard line. Aaron Moses Williams as the quarterback will hand off to Amir Mells, breaking his way out to the far side numbers, and he finds a lot of room on the far side flank. Give him 10 yards before he's forced out of bounds.
Clock is probably a bit of an issue for Worcester State. You saw there 2:25 to play here in the second quarter. But if they're going to get 10 yards a carry, they can run whatever play they like.
Brings Mells up to 43 yards on the ground on 10 carries, long of 15 today. Now out to the far side, and looks like another successful play for Worcester State. Very much a successful play. And in 2 plays, they've gone from the Worcester 30 to the Fitchburg 30.
pretty much identical to the play call on the last play, Dan. They just give it to Mells, have him try to get outside the left tackle. This time he's got a big offensive lineman leading for him in Mike Mahoney. Mells is into the second level and just playing faster than many of the Falcon defenders.
He'll take a break, Nico Holmes, as the Falcons looked like they were committing hard to the pass. Holmes able to gain about 8 yards on first down.
Worcester State still has 2 timeouts, still has 90 seconds with which to work. They're moving the ball in bunches on the ground.
They'll keep up the tempo. Holmes remains in the backfield to the left, 3 receivers to the left side as well. And it will be Holmes again, breaks out of attack from Burmester. It's Noyes that's able to bring him down. Stop him short of the 20-yard line, which is the line to gain. Well, no, the 21 was the line to gain, excuse me. And he got to the 21, so give him the first down.
Stop the clock for a moment to move the chains. We'll duck under a minute to play here in the second quarter. Worth noting that Worcester State will get the ball to start the third quarter as well. So a chance for them to really salt this one away if they can get it in the end zone here.
We'll have whistles with 46 seconds on the clock.
The Falcons took that timeout. So they want to get their defense a breather maybe, give them a chance to recuperate. It's been I can understand why Fitchburg State's defense might be shell-shocked, Dan. About 2 minutes ago, Worcester State was set up deep in their own territory, and now they're knocking on the door of their 3rd touchdown of the day.
You see, it's all the ground game on this particular drive too.
I assumed that when Worcester State took the ball, and I'm pretty sure everybody did, including Fitchburg State, all right, they've moved the ball well through the air. There's 2.5 minutes to play. They need 70 yards for a touchdown. They're going to throw. Everybody assumed they were going to throw. They, they didn't throw. So just that little bit of, it's not even deception, it's just very effective running has gotten Worcester into this position.
And just after the Falcons had that drive of 8 plays in which they got 2, and they was just all rushing, as it all turned out. Worcester saying, hey, we can do all rushing too. Would you like to see how that looks for us?
Looks pretty good.
They've only put 1 back in the field. They've never needed to put any more than that. They're going to try a pass this time as Williams rolls to the left side. A lot of room on the left. Throws to the end zone. Touchdown, Lancers! Dylan Hall pulls it down for his 2nd touchdown of the season, 20-3 Worcester.
Aaron Moses Williams does great work here. He's under pressure, spins out to his left, just lets the play develop, and then Dylan Hall finds a hole in the Falcon coverage. There was no one around him within 5 yards until he made that catch, and finally was hit as he was going down with it, but by then it was too late.
Extra point by Santi Rodriguez is good. 35.8 to go in the frame, and the Lancers lead 21-3.
Worcester State's offense made that look way too easy, Dan, if you're a Falcon fan.
They've really made the offense work. Worcester State has now up to 186 yards of total offense on 27 plays. Falcons 26 plays for 75 yards. Williams 5 for 9 for 83 yards and 2 scores. Amir Whitmell 11 for 72, that long of 29.
So now, Dan, if you're Fitchburg State, 35 seconds left in the half, Worcester State's going to get the ball to start the third quarter. I know chucking it downfield is not your best offense, but you got to do something here, don't you? You can't just hand the ball off. You can't just take a knee. You've got to take a few shots downfield, at least try to make something happen, right?
As long as they start with decent field position, if you have a bad kick return and you end up on your own 20, then that's probably a time when you just kneel it down. But if you're starting on your own 40 at least, then that might put themselves in decent spot. Kyle Wall to kick off. Came in today averaging 53 yards a kick. He's had a couple good deep ones. He kicks it pretty consistently to the 10-yard line. On a line, taken in inside the 10 by Elijah Zaire McKnight. Trying to wrestle up the middle, but he cannot get past Caden Constant, who knocks him down at the 30.
It was a big hit by Constant.
We're not used to hearing him say that because as we know, he was a Leominster quarterback for 4 years. And he was listed as an athlete on the roster, but look at how he threw Zaire McKnight down to the ground with authority.
I would say that was a pretty athletic hit.
But yeah, he was mainly a quarterback, did some running back work in the like his senior year, but mainly was a quarterback, and you don't see guys who are mainly quarterbacks doing things like that. So on first down,
Timeout. Fitchburg. That's their second timeout of the half.
so after the unsuccessful run to the far side on first down, they'll call timeout.
I wouldn't be surprised if they ask for a few more seconds to go back on the game clock here, but so you remember that one thing I said that you really couldn't do if you're down by 3 scores and you're kicking the ball away to start the third quarter? Yeah, the Falcons did.
Can we reset the game clock to 26 seconds, please?
But again, there's a reason that I am up here yakking and Scott Sperone is down there with the play sheet. So they'll put 26 seconds on the game clock here. Give the Falcons a little bit more time. Fitchburg State does still have 1 timeout.
Can we reset the game clock to 26 seconds, please? Thank you.
All right, now as we've got the clock reset, ready for second down and 11 to go. Falcons have to get 71 yards for a score. And Wilson immediately dropping back, looking for time. Time's not going to come. A sack there for the Lancers.
I believe that was Lane Benton who made the hit. And that's the thing, Dan, if Worcester State knows that you're going to throw it deep, all they need is some good coverage, give their defensive line some time to break through. You see there, Benton was going full pass rush from the onset for the sophomore from onset.
And at that point, with third and a lot, just not worth it at that point.
That's the end of the second quarter.
So that'll bring us to halftime here at Elliott Field. Worcester State's got the offense rolling, and they lead 21-3.
Wow. So for Fitchburg State, you came into this thinking maybe this was a chance to make a statement, but we'll take a look at some of the big plays of the first half for Worcester State. That quick touchdown pass to Kevon Davis and the extra point gave them their first points of the game.
Continuing to watch the highlights. Sorry, I was distracted. The referee kept his mic on.
Yeah, a little bit.
He's only just now realized it.
That's fine.
But yeah, Worcester State was just moving the ball with authority. They end up with, again, 186 yards of offense, and the Falcons struggling on their own side. Now down to 69 yards of total offense as they they went backwards on that last drive, trying to make something happen. But Worcester right now overpowering them, and that's something, last year, Worcester State was in a much worse position, but halftime discussions, new strategy was able to make that, turn it all the way around in the second half. And, well, let's see if Fitchburg State can pull the same thing with a much smaller deficit.
It's a fair point. Game's not over yet. We've only played 2 quarters of action here from Elliott Field. We hope you come back for the final 2. 21-3 Worcester State is the score. It's halftime from Elliott Field right here on FATV. Fitchburg State University football here on FATV. I'm John Gugerty, joined of course by Dan Bolak. Falcons trailing the Lancers of Worcester State in this one by a score of 21-3 as we get ready for the third quarter of action. Again, folks, it is a beautiful day here at Elliott Field, so if you're in Fitchburg, by all means come on down and enjoy the second half. Hopefully for the Fitchburg faithful, a Falcon comeback. If you know someone, rather, who is not in Fitchburg, if you're not in Fitchburg and you're not watching us, I don't know what to tell you. There's no way for me to communicate with you at the moment. My phone's in my pocket. But if you are in Fitchburg and you know someone in Worcester or indeed anywhere in this great world of ours who would like to watch the second half of today's action from Elliott Field, just send them over to fatv.org or, of course, the FATV app on your Android or Apple devices. There, of course, is also the Roku Fire TV or Apple TV options. We welcome all of you from all over the place to College Football Saturday here on FATV. We'll take a look at some statistics from the first half of action here from Elliott Field. It's been pretty one-sided in favor of Worcester State. Aaron Moses-Williams, 5 of 9 through the air, 83 yards and 2 touchdowns. But the big story for the Lancers has been the ground game. Nico Holmes, 5 carries, 17 yards, but the real standout has been Amir Mells, 11 carries, 72 yards for him. Aaron Moses-Williams also has 1 carry for 10 yards. We'll take a look at some of the bigger plays from the first half here at Elliott Field. This, I believe, was the first touchdown by Aaron Moses-Williams. Quick pass to the near side to Kevon Davis. Kevon Davis has had a pretty good day for himself. 2 catches, 29 yards, and that touchdown. This was the second touchdown, a tremendous pass to Drew Lock. But, Freddie's spirits are still up. He's still invested in the game. It's far too early to give up. Fitchburg State did get some points on the board. You see there the 38-yard field goal by Carson Russell. But Dan, Worcester State answered very quickly.
Yep, that quick pass there from Aaron Moses-Williams as he scrambled out to the left side, and he found Dylan Hall for the touchdown. It's been a solid game for Worcester State, being able to move the ball with regularity. Forgot to mention Mike Lovelace got one of those touchdown throws, just sneaking into the game on the change of pace, and he's very good in those goal line situations, just trying things a little differently. Instead of running it in like he did last year, he threw it in.
So Lovelace also has a passing touchdown for the Lancers. But before we get ready for the third quarter of action, we also saw some passing history, or some passing nostalgia, if you will, for Fitchburg State. Garrett Delichii, we heard a rumor that he was in town. Well, it turns out he was here, and he was part of the halftime festivities.
Indeed, the halftime challenge this week was see if a player can catch a 20-yard pass from Garrett Delichii, and he threw the ball like he'd never been away.
He threw the ball like he'd never been away, but was also throwing to field hockey players who had there was no incentive for him to throw very hard. Is that fair to say?
I guess it can be.
They were not bullets. How about that?
Mm-hmm.
But they were accurate.
They were accurate, and of course, the greatest quarterback in Fitchburg State history. That's not us being exaggerating or whatever.
No. If there is a Fitchburg State passing record, it is probably held by Garrett Delichii. If there is a Fitchburg State scoring record, it is probably from a season where Garrett Delichii was the quarterback. If there is a Fitchburg State win-loss record that is good, it is probably from a season where Garrett Delichii was the quarterback. We're not exaggerating when we say the dude is the best football player the Falcons have ever had.
It's absolutely the best quarterback. We had a couple of really good running backs in the 90s and 2000s.
That's true.
And DeAndre Freeman and Marlon Thornton. But besides that, though, they're the only ones who could even hold a candle to Garrett Delichii in terms of just all-around athleticism. And I guess Devin Samil as well, who was one of those key members of the team during those Garrett Delichii days. And I know a bunch of other players, from before my time and in my time that I just can't recall off the top of my head. But
and it's not like Fitchburg State has never, ever had a good quarterback other than Mr. Delichii. I'm sadly old enough to remember the Jim Miller days. Like, Fitchburg State has had good passers before and will have good passers again, and does have quality quarterbacks right now. Garrett Delichii is the best quarterback the Falcons have ever had.
Jim Miller held those records before Delichii did.
That's right.
Not enough reminiscing. It is the first game of the conference slate. Fitchburg State and Worcester State. As we saw, Worcester State a 21-3 lead as we get ready to start this second half of play. The Falcons are set to kick off, and the last time we saw the Falcons kick off, it was an onside kick, so we'll see if Carson Russell will kick it away this time or if they'll try something a little different.
We will see. We looked over the first half stats for Worcester real quick for Fitchburg State. Logan Wilson, 5 out of 7, but just 28 yards for him. Falcons haven't been able to get any real consistency going on the ground. Leading rusher is Frank Sims, 6 carries, 28 yards. Other than that, Elijah Zaire McKnight, 4 for 17. Matty Aguirre, 4 for just 7 for him. But we will see what the Falcons do with this kick here. Down 3 scores. I don't think you desperately want to give the ball back to Worcester State, but at the same time, the Lancers are very prepared for the possibility of an onside.
We'll see the players start to get in position. They set 2 out to the far side. Now they'll start to move everyone into the conventional kickoff formation. 5 on the near, 5 on the far. A freshman from Washington State, Carson Russell, watching the clock, and he's going to get it off right as it is about to strike 0, and it's muffed by Von Klock at the 21-yard line. He's able to pick it up and find some room on the far side, and he brings it back to midfield. Never think the play is over just because the kick returner has botched the pickup of the football. It's even in those moments where the vulnerabilities exist the most, it feels.
What's that saying, Dan? Darned if you do, darned if you don't. Something a little more curse-like than that I don't feel comfortable saying on television at the moment. Fitchburg State, part of the reason you don't try the surprise onside kick is that you don't want to give Worcester State great field position. Well, they kicked it deep, and Worcester State has great field position.
Almost justifies the exercise in the end. Amir Mells on first down, runs it to the near side, and found a lot of room on the near side flank. He's going to be taken out of bounds at the 36-yard line. Give him 14 and another first down.
Tremendous patience on this carry by Amir Mells. He waited for this play to develop, never tried to cut it upfield too soon. He just takes the yards that's in front of him. He's got blocking. He's able to turn the corner. He's not making things happen that aren't there, and it winds up being a 14-yard gain.
As we mentioned, it was very difficult to get an idea. What does Worcester State have to bring to the table as this catch is made on the far side of the field? Hauled in by Samuel Brewer, 4th-year junior from Holden, another Wachusett grad. Put a bit of a pipeline there between the Lancers and Wachusett, and got a good chunk of yards on first down.
Worcester State hasn't gone play action too often today, but they do so there. Get a good gain out of it.
We haven't seen them go 2 backs in the backfield either, to either side of Aaron Moses Williams, as Amir Mells goes through the middle and will get another first down. Give him to the 27-yard line, the 22-yard line.
It's a very experienced offense, especially at the skill positions from Worcester State. You've got the 5th-year senior Mells taking the handoff from the 5th-year senior Williams.
That is one thing that Worcester State can very much boast, is experience. 5 graduate students, 11 seniors, and 13 juniors helping to make up this squad.
Now it's the sophomore Holmes, who doesn't respect our narrative.
On the left side, got a good chunk of yardage down around the 10-yard line. Again, bringing it out to the flanks. That's been very effective for Worcester State on this drive.
Outside runs have been very effective for the Lancers. You wouldn't think Holmes is the guy to do that. He's been more of the big bruising between the tackles type runner. But this time he takes it to the outside, very similar to that first run by Mells. Now we've got a stoppage here. I believe a timeout was called. There's actually an injured Falcon.
It's Jalen Miller who is hurt on the field for the Falcons. The freshman from Tacoma, Washington, shaken up after that last play.
But to your point, Dan, again, you know, the sophomore running back Nico Holmes really had a lot of success in the first half, being between the tackles, you know, but right behind the guard, just plowing through the hole, getting those short yardage gains. We saw him convert a 4th and 1, I believe, on Worcester State's first drive. But that time it was a run to the outside, very similar to the first play of the drive by Amir Mells. And Holmes showed that he was able to make that successful as well. So Holmes will stay in the backfield, and he is joined by Brewer.
First and goal for Worcester State, trying to find their 4th touchdown on the contest. 2 again in the backfield. Williams throws to the left corner. It is caught! Kevon Davis! Touchdown, Lancers!
Thought the pass was a little high at first. Davis was the only one who had any chance at it, and he was wide open. But he was able to get up, turn his body around, and make the catch. See there, he does great work keeping his feet in bounds. Only needs to get 1, but I believe he got 2. Now Santi Rodriguez will try the extra point.
Snap down, kick is up, and it is just barely good. But there's also a flag on the play.
I think the Falcons were offside.
Jan Vals is hurt now.
Did Vals get kicked in the face? He was diving at that extra point. I think he was one of the Falcons who was a little offside at the snap.
Thinking it might have been 2 Falcons who actually collided with each other trying to block that. We'll get a look at the replay in a moment, but we'll get the call from the official, which will probably be irrelevant in the grand scheme of things.
Both teams are heading for the sideline, so I think this is going to stand. But obviously the main concern is Jan Vals. Vals, as I believe you mentioned, is a freshman from Worcester, actually. Now he's up and walking off under his own power. You love to see that.
Vals, who was the hero 2 weeks ago against Dean College, came up with that loose ball in the end zone for the winning score.
Prior to the snap, offsides, defense with contact. Replay the try.
So because there was contact on the offside, they can't let the play stand. They're going to have to go out and retry it. Worcester State will just line up to kick another extra point rather than go for 2 from a yard.
So players getting ready for the extra point. Snap down, kick is up, and this is good. Sneaks in the left upright. And so 12:56 to go in the 3rd quarter of play. It is 28-3, Worcester State in front.
Gee, Dan, there's no history of teams in New England having special significance to score 28-3 now, is there?
I can't imagine why anyone would think that that's something that's significant in the sport of football.
It rings a bell in the back of my head somewhere. Something with, like, I don't know, maybe was the Saints some NFC South team?
Was there a Falcon involved in some sort?
There might have been a Falcon, now that you think about it. The Falcons in a football game that's 28-3 in the 3rd quarter. Wow, it's right on the tip of my 7th Super Bowl ring and my tongue. Oh well, we'll think of it as something. It's fine. So 28-3 is the score in favor of the Lancers. There's that number again.
Kevon Davis with that touchdown catch. His major is computer science. I always appreciate the computer science majors.
Hey, I shouted out a comm media major earlier, so it makes sense.
Kyle Wall to boot it away. And it will be taken in inside the 10-yard line. It's Keyshawn McCurdy trying to make his way to the far side. Had some great returns last time out against Dean. This time he brings it to the 25-yard line before he's forced out of bounds.
Dan, as the Falcon offense comes back out onto the field, it'll be very interesting to see what they do with their possession here at the start of the 3rd quarter. They had a bit of success on their last drive running a very heavy backfield. 3 running backs, 2 tight ends, really abandoning any concept of the deep pass. But instead, they're going to go the complete opposite direction. Looks like shotgun 3 wide for the Falcons to start this drive.
Sims is the one in the backfield with Logan Wilson. Zaire McKnight will go in motion. Will fake the handoff to him. Wilson try to take it himself, but Sam Dua says you ain't doing anything with that.
Wilson was able to get away from Jaden Karen, but as you said, Sam Dua was right there. They faked the jet sweep. Falcons have had some success getting the ball into McKnight's hands. This time they fake it to him, try to get Wilson to keep it himself. Dua and Karen are right there. Just a gain of a yard.
2nd down, 9 to go. Fosner out on the far side. Zaire McKnight and Gomez out to the near now. It is Zaire McKnight who will take it. This time he will take it in on the reverse. Gets out to that far side. He gets a good chunk of yardage. Give him about 14 and a first down.
So they fake the sweep on first down, get nothing, go right back to the same formation, send the same man in motion. This time they just give him the ball, and they had a little bit more success just giving him the ball. You don't want to become one-dimensional as an offense, but it really does seem like the best path to success for Fitchburg State right now starts with getting the ball in the hands of Elijah Zaire McKnight.
Try to do whatever you can to keep the defense on their toes. Ball at the 40-yard line, still in Fitchburg territory. Same formation as the last. And it looks like it'll be a similar play call, but instead it's a quick pass out to Sahir Gomez, wide open on the near side, makes the catch. Now going for the yards after the catch. He's going to get about 5 as he's forced out of bounds around the 45-yard line.
Was able to shake Kevin Burns, but Tyler Chaves was there following up. It's a gain of about 5, all things told. I believe that's Gomez's first catch of the day. I said I believe about a statistic, which sent Dan scurrying to the laptop.
It is his 2nd catch of the day.
Well, I'm wrong about a statistic, which is not surprising. It's part of the reason Dan scurries to the laptop to correct me.
Just double checking 2nd and 5. Wilson shaking out of a couple of tackles, a couple of cuts as he tries to make his way further downfield, ends up getting 3 yards in the grand scheme of things. Brings up 3rd and 2.
We'll take another look at this one. Good coverage by the Lancers downfield. Wilson makes the decision pretty early that he's got to get rid of it. You see there, he jumps out of a hit, and he's able to get an extra 2 or 3 yards out of it. Brings up a very manageable 3rd and 2 for Fitchburg State. I've got to think if they don't get this, they'll go for it on 4th. But we'll see. They're back to that heavy set.
Yep, they go back to the three backs, 2 tight ends. Wilson under center with the handoff to Zaire McKnight, and he's got to shake out of 2, try to shake out of a 3rd tackle, but instead, when you've got to deal with the half of the Lancers trying to take you down, it makes things all the more difficult. There is a penalty flag.
There are 2 flags.
I'm wondering if there was a grabbing of the face mask at one point as they tried to tackle him. It wasn't on the on what ultimately was the tackle, but I think it was the first one he broke out of. I think they grasped the face mask while he was trying to scramble, because it looked like his head moved in a violent direction.
Could be that. I thought it might have been something after the play. Those flags were thrown pretty late. We'll take a look at the penalty.
After the play, dead ball, personal foul, offense number 57. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run. The down will count, 4th down.
Or it could just be all of that.
It could just be a personal foul against Ryan McDonald, yeah. But, that's also a possibility.
Docks off 15 yards and now makes it less viable to try to go for it on 4th down.
Yeah, you know, if it's 3rd and 2 and you get nothing, you probably go for it. It was 3rd and 2 and they lost 2. I kind of thought they should still go for it. And now it's 3rd and 2 and they lost a couple, and then they lost 15 more. So now it's 4th and 19, and I kind of think they should punt.
And the play clock's running down, and they're probably not going to get it off in time, but we will see.
The officials are indicating that they should restart the play clock, so hopefully they'll get the play off. It's back up to 20 seconds now.
All right, that makes it a lot easier. So far back into punt. He will kick it away. A low line driver gets a couple bounces. That makes it hard for Clark to handle. He's just got to eat the football.
There's a flag thrown at about midfield. So we'll see what that one is.
Definitely looks like Farr's best punts are the ones in which they bounce on the ground. It makes it a little harder to handle. And Von Klock's had a couple of issues handling punts like that.
During the kick, holding number 26 of the receiving team. 10-yard penalty from the end of the kick. First down, Worcester State.
So the Lancers guilty of a hold. Back them up an extra 10 yards.
Because Farr had gotten the punt off, though, Worcester State will be allowed to keep the football, and they'll start with it on the 31-yard line. With 9:02 to go in the third quarter, they lead by 25.
If Fitchburg State, Dan, is to have any hope of matching the comeback, well, you don't want to ask Fitchburg State to exactly match the comeback that Worcester State had last season. But if they want to have a similar comeback, I would think they need to stop the Lancers here.
On first down, run up the middle.
It was 35-3 when Worcester State started their comeback, but we don't need to replicate that.
35-7.
There you go. See, I can't even remember the score.
It felt like 35-3 because 38 is a score in which it sounds like, you know, oh yeah, 5 touchdowns, 5 extra points, and a field goal, except it was 6 touchdowns and 2 extra points. A weird way to get to 38. And so Williams keeps it himself, throws to the right side. That's going to be caught, and that's going to be another first down for Worcester State.
It was a very well-designed play. They sent Dan DeVerde in motion. Just had him running a trail route right across the line of scrimmage pretty much, maybe 5 yards downfield. He was in a ton of space. See there, he just releases out of the backfield pretty much, makes the catch at about the 40, and he's finally brought down at the 45.
So with time in the pocket, throws over the middle, incomplete.
Williams' pass falls incomplete.
That time unable to find Osei Sarpong.
The intended receiver.
I think that pass was a little bit behind Dion Osei Sarpong,
Jalen Miller.
third-year sophomore from Holden.
Second and 10.
He'll head to the sideline. Worcester State will bring in, it's like Von Klock back on the field.
Second down, 10 to go. With 4 receivers, it's going to be hard run there for Nico Holmes, hugging the ball with both hands as he makes his way to the Lancer 49-yard line.
Little early in the game still to be thinking, you know, clock management for Worcester State, but you're up by 4 scores. There's nothing wrong with just keeping it on the ground. Brings up a more manageable 3rd and 6 for the Lancers.
Halfway through the third quarter of play, the Lancers lead by 25. Williams immediately rolling to the right. With time, gets the throw off. That's going to be caught by Hall.
Williams' pass is complete.
Hall will have the first down.
Good for first down.
Yet another one for the Lancers. That's number 18 on the day.
As you said, Danny, rolls out to the right immediately. Good job by the Lancer offensive line, moving the pocket to the right with him, making sure that Aaron Moses Williams had plenty of time to throw. He found Dylan Hall to move the chains.
Williams has rarely been pressured today. He gets a quick throw on first down. That's bobbled and incomplete. Trying to get a quick slant out to the right side as he was looking for Marcus Bass. Didn't find the success that time.
I think that pass was a little low, but still catchable. Bass came up and was pretty upset with himself that he wasn't able to make the catch. But it'll be second down and 10 now for the Lancers.
Not taking too long to go on second down. A lot of time for Williams, and he gets the pass off incomplete. Found Kevon Davis
with the reception.
Inside the 40-yard line. It brings up a third down. But yeah,
Holding. Offense, number 69. 10-yard penalty. Replay the down.
Mike Mahoney called for that one, and that is why Aaron Moses Williams had so much time.
I was going to say, Dan, as a defensive line, you have to eventually get there and make some pressure on your quarterback. You can't ask your defensive backfield to cover for that long. But there was a reason Fitchburg State wasn't able to get there. The 10-yard holding penalty will make it 2nd down and 20 for the Lancers, who are suddenly moving in the wrong direction.
Come on, D!
Two receivers to either side for Aaron Moses Williams. That time as the pocket starts to collapse, he goes for the long ball downfield, and it is caught! A big reception for the Lancers, and they're this close to scoring again. Dion Osei-Sarpong.
Dan, we have been very impressed with the play of the 5th-year senior Aaron Moses Williams all day. I think that was the best pass he's thrown here at Elliott Field today. He's got plenty of time, steps up, delivers a perfect strike, hits his man in stride. It's only a diving last-minute tackle by Jordan Cummings that keeps him out of the end zone.
Now they're just 5 yards from their 5th touchdown of the day. That's a high snap to Lovelace, who's able to pick it up, throw right side, and that's incomplete. Tried to find Osei-Sarpong again. They went back to the change of pace in Lovelace, but he never really had the opportunity that he would have liked with the terrible snap.
We've seen a few high snaps today by the Lancers. Aaron Moses Williams has done a good job, for the most part, bringing them in. But you bring in that change of pace in Lovelace. Just a little bit less reach, but that was probably the highest snap we've seen today. So very fortunate for Worcester State that did not turn into a turnover.
They will retain Lovelace for 2nd and goal from the 5-yard line. Another high snap, but kept it on well enough, and Mells is wrapped up by 2 Falcons. It's Sebastian Burmester and Cameron Topkin.
Lovelace was able to catch that snap and bring it down, Dan, but it was only because he left his feet to do so. That was another very high ball that Lovelace had to bring down. It threw off the timing of this play. You see there, he leaps up into the air, which delays the handoff to Mells, just enough for the Falcons to get into the backfield.
3rd and goal. Lovelace with a good snap this time will take it himself, and he finds the real estate for his 5th career touchdown against Fitchburg State.
4-yard touchdown rush, number 10, Mike Lovelace.
Initially, this was designed to be up the middle, maybe to the left side, but Lovelace saw there was nothing there and an acre of space to his right. Take a look here, absolutely nothing left. He puts one juke and gets one great block by Elijah Gellin. He gets into the end zone.
Well, the former Red Raiders and Elijah Gellin. His twin brother Emmanuel on this team as well. Extra point from Santi Rodriguez, the former Leominster Blue Devil, is good. And it's 35-3 Worcester State with 5:16 to go in the 3rd quarter.
So Dan, coming into this game, we thought, I said that this was going to be a statement game for both of these teams. The question around Fitchburg State is, yeah, you were able to beat Dean, but, they're Dean and Castleton blew the doors off of you. How good are you exactly? On the other side of the coin for Worcester State, they got absolutely thrashed by WPI and Union. And the question around the Lancers is, wait, how bad are you exactly? And the answer to both of those questions appears to be not very.
Indeed, we'll have a scoreboard update now. Mass Maritime's up 14-0 on Anna Maria, who just hung 63 on UMass Dartmouth last week. 63-48, that was a shootout there. Meanwhile, UMass Dartmouth has a 14-0 lead over Framingham halfway through the 1st quarter.
That's impressive.
And 28-21, Bridgewater in front of Plymouth. They're about 4 minutes gone in the 3rd quarter. Interesting results around the MASCAC right now.
Plenty to talk about.
Right here is the most lopsided of them all. 35-3, Worcester State in front. Wall to boot it away. I think that's his strongest kick of the contest. And it bounces at the 2-yard line, does not go into the end zone. So now Zaire McKnight has to handle it. He's going to be thrown into the end zone.
There is a flag on the field. I think the officials will give McKnight forward progress to about the 4-yard line. So even though he's thrown into the end zone, it won't be a safety. Dan, that was almost a coffin corner kickoff. We'll take a look at it again here. The ball bounced at the 2 and pretty much died there. Then just grabbing him by the shoulder pads and throwing him to the ground was Caden Constant.
During the return, illegal blindside block on the receiving team, number 29. At the distance to the goal, first down.
And so they call the penalty against Fitchburg. They find the tackle by Constant was legal. An illegal blindside block will knock the Falcons off half the distance to the goal. But at that point, how much is that really going to knock down?
You see it right there. Jeremiah Osei is guilty of the foul, and then he actually got knocked on his backside. But it was Osei first who delivered the illegal block. Things just going from bad to worse for Fitchburg State. Their offense barely able to get anything going under ideal circumstances. Now set up inside the 5-yard line.
They gave him the 2-yard line. And so Wilson on first down gets the handoff to Zaire McKnight. And the rugby ball will gain some yardage out of it.
Yeah, at this point, you're just handing the ball off, trying to get forward. You know, obviously, when you're in offense, you want to score points every time you have the ball, but your first real priority here is to get outside the 5-yard line so you have enough space to get a proper punt away.
Actually got to the 8-yard line. Give him 6 for that.
Turned into a pretty good second effort, but it was that rugby maul you said, Dan. Just pushed him forward enough. Brings up 2nd and 5.
Makes it a little more manageable. They get it into the hands of Zaire McKnight as he tries to get around to the near side. He's not going to be able to get there.
Jamison Metcalf brought him down again. I think if McKnight had gotten away from Metcalf, he had a big gain in front of him. But, you know, if you start saying ifs, well, if Fitchburg had 32 more points, this would be a competitive football game.
Short gain on the play.
Worcester State has shown themselves to be battle-tested. As we've said, it's been very hard to define where exactly they've stood, considering the teams that they opened the season against. Now 3rd down, and probably still about 5 to go. And this time to the near side, getting a little bit of extra yardage. Elijah Zaire McKnight gets to the 19-yard line. And a first down.
That's very good running by McKnight. He made a couple of guys miss in the open field. We'll take another look at it again from behind the left side end zone. See McKnight bouncing out to the outside, making defenders miss, keeping his legs churning. Gets it out to about the 19-yard line. Falcon offense is on the move.
You can see some great blocking there by Matty Aguirre that helped set that up. One of those Lancers was fixing to take McKnight down. Didn't have the opportunity. Meanwhile, Logan Wilson gets wrapped up immediately.
Eben Ankoma-Gal bursting into the backfield.
The sophomore from Doherty. We went over his pronunciation before the game, and my head just looked down and just did not want to say it.
I think Sam Duo was in there as well for the Lancers.
Backs him to the 16-yard line, a loss of 3 on first down. So it brings up 2nd down, 13 to go. McKnight again goes in motion. Hand it to him. Tries to get around left side of the line. The opening's not there. Gets it back to the original marker. Around the 20-yard line, but it's going to bring up another 3rd and long.
Falcons had success on an earlier possession running this jet sweep with McKnight, the slot receiver, coming in motion. That time Worcester State was prepared. They were able to keep the edge. McKnight had to turn upfield a little bit sooner than he wanted to. He wasn't able to get really much of anything. It's going to be 3rd and 10 now for the Falcons as we duck under 2 minutes to play here in this 3rd quarter of action.
It's been all Worcester in this one, 35-3. Wilson takes the snap and throws to the left side, and that's going to be caught by Ponce. Ponce looking for a bit of an opening, but wrapped up at the 25-yard line. Kurt Marshall able to make the tackle and bring up a 4th down.
Matt O'Connor was barreling in on Logan Wilson, forced him to get rid of that ball. Actually threw across his body for it. Take a look at it again. You see Wilson rolls to his right, but now he's under pressure. Dua was coming in as well. Wilson did a good job to turn around, get the ball out to his left side, deliver it accurately. Now, Fitchburg State's going to go for it here, and honestly, Dan, I don't mind. You know, try something. Go for it.
Down by 32. What have you got to lose at this juncture? Throw is incomplete to Ponce. In and out of his hands. Would have been a 1st down if he could have hauled it in. He could not haul it in.
Was a little bit of a stretch for him. He had to go full extension for it. Let's take another look at it again. That was a pretty catchable ball in my estimation. Winds up falling incomplete. Falcons will turn it over on downs.
Meanwhile, a very resilient bug here in the press box. 61 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter.
A very resilient flying death missile for the person who is deathly allergic to bees. Hi, that's me. So, sorry, I got distracted there by my light flashing before my eyes. It's fine. It's fine. Did we ever tell on air the story of the bee's nest that was inside the fence here at Elliott Field?
I don't know if we have.
Okay. We'll tell that in the 4th quarter.
26 yards are all the Lancers will need to score a 6th touchdown. Throw to the right side. Kevon Davis makes the catch and steps out of bounds just short of the 15-yard line. But there's a yellow handkerchief on the field.
Flag was thrown behind the play after the pass was thrown. Usually indicates an ineligible man downfield, maybe roughing the passer, something like that.
Holding, number 79 of the offense. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay.
Austin Michelson will instead be caught for something much more mundane, holding.
Yeah, holding's a boring penalty. Obviously, you don't want to see roughing the passer. That's why they legislate against it, but it's, you know, it's an interesting penalty.
All right, that was the whistle of the referee didn't turn his mic off.
That's correct. See here at the top right of your screen, the right tackle, Michelson, guilty of the infraction. Dear Ward, please ask that man to turn his microphone off.
So from the 36-yard line it goes. 1st and 20. Amir Mells with the handoff up the middle. Ball may have come out there.
Falcons are saying they have it. And they came out of the pile with it. The question is, was Mells down before the ball came loose? Bit of a high snap. Mells goes into the pile there. We really can't see any. The ball's there. We see the ball fly out. I think it's out before he's down. It's hard to tell.
There's also a flag sitting on the 30-yard line.
Okay.
I think he finally realized he had his mic hot. That's a shame. We were about to hear something interesting.
During the initial run, personal foul, face mask, number 99 of the defense. 15-yard penalty from the fumble. 1st down, Worcester.
Well, it doesn't matter. Even if it was ruled a fumble, and the referee just said it was, a personal foul face mask against the Falcons negates the turnover, gives the Lancers a 1st down.
Fumble caused by a face mask. I'm thinking back to a previous meeting between these two teams in which such a call was not made that had a direct effect on the outcome of the game. Still angry about that, can you tell? Nico Holmes has the handoff to the left side, finds some room to the near side flank, now moving his way upfield inside the 10-yard line.
Danny, might you be ever so slightly salty about that previous decision? Just a little? Just a little.
I wanted to punch something that day. That's going to be the last play of the 3rd quarter. Worcester State is getting on the doorstep, ready to score yet again. They have just dominated this game.
Holmes that time running behind the lead blocking of Trevor Johnson. takes us to the end of the third quarter. Gives us a chance to mention that our next broadcast here on FATV, of Fitchburg football at least, will be Friday, September the 23rd, as Fitchburg High School looks for their first victory of 2022. They will be taking on the also winless team of Shepherd Hill. Kickoff from that game at historic Crocker Field, of course, is at 7 p.m. And that, of course, is also part of a doubleheader weekend, Dan, as Fitchburg State takes on Mass Maritime the following day, Saturday, September the 24th. That is at noon, also here on FATV.
No time for slumber. We'll be getting right back at it.
That game as well as every telecast here on FATV, available on the FATV app or on your Amazon, Fire Stick, your Roku, your Apple TV, Android or iOS devices, fatv.org, etc., etc., etc.
Also the FATV stream, the education stream on fatv.org. However you've chosen to join us today, we appreciate you having tuned in.
As we get ready for the fourth quarter of action here from Elliott Field,
2nd and 5.
Lancers lead this one 35-3. They have 2nd down and 5 at the Fitchburg 10-yard line. Aaron Moses-Williams takes the shotgun snap, play action, throw to the end zone is up. It is caught. Touchdown, Lancers. There's that man again, Kevon Davis.
When he throw it up there like that, it's just too easy, even though he's got to make that acrobatic move. Kevon Davis is one of the most dynamic, if not the most dynamic receiver that Worcester State has on offer, and he can make catches like that. Continuing to put this game into a rout.
Santi Rodriguez will come on to attempt his 6th extra point of the game. Good snap, good hold, good kick. So one play into the fourth quarter. This one is all over but the shouting. 42-3 in favor of the Lancers of Worcester State.
I ended up using this stat on the Fitchburg-Leominster game last week, but if the Falcons were to come back and win this game, it would set the record for the biggest comeback in Division III football history.
That is good to know. I am regretting my fake bet earlier in this game. I remember I took the Falcons and laid the points. It was a mistake. I regret it. Don't bet on college football, kids, especially D3 football, especially the Fitchburg State Falcons. Don't do it.
It's lost millions of invisible dollars.
That's true. You know, if I was going by Massey and I took the Falcons +4, I'd still be losing.
We have 39-point deficit. The record is 33, by the way.
So you're saying there's a chance?
At the end of the day, it's like it was impossible to get a read on Worcester State because you played two teams that were so far above your weight class. And Fitchburg right now has not been at the weight class as we thought it would be.
Kyle Wall will kick it off again. He's had a busy afternoon. This time kick comes to the near side. Easy McKnight will let it bounce out of bounds, and he pulls the old Green Bay Packers play. He gets out of bounds and then pulls the ball with him, making it a kickoff out of bounds. A heady play by Elijah Zaire McKnight. If the player is out of bounds and touches the ball is then out of bounds. This should be a penalty against the Lancers.
Now Scott Sperrone's going to get the options. I think they asked him, what do you want to do with the spot?
Free kick out of bounds on the kicking team. They have elected to take the ball at the 35-yard line. First down, Fitchburg.
So as you heard, the Falcon offense will get the ball at their own 35-yard line. That's 32 more yards than they had on their last possession.
And that's just great awareness by Zaire McKnight, knowing where that ball was going to go, knowing a good kick return was going to be challenging. But the ball so close to the boundary, you could just do that.
Pass goes to him on first down. Elijah Zaire McKnight throws down one tackler. He's able to plunge forward for another 3 or 4 yards.
Gain of 7 on the play.
Looked for a second like he wasn't going to get much further beyond the line of scrimmage. But instead, Easy McKnight's able to get 7 yards. It'll be 2nd and 3. Take another look.
Just fighting hard for the yards after the catch.
2nd and 3.
You can see there are a lot of Lancers he knows he has to conquer to get a lot of yardage downfield, but he's willing to take on that fight.
Falcons from the shotgun here on 2nd down and 3. Aguirre in motion, but it's a handoff to Sims. He gets across the 45-yard line. It's not fancy, but it is effective. Stop the clock, move the chains. 1st down, Fitchburg.
3 yards all you need. So Sims will drive up for 4. It looked like it was a little bit of an issue with the exchange. Like Logan Wilson didn't want to let go.
Wonder if maybe that was an option play. Wilson waited just a little bit longer than typical to decide to give it to Sims. I've noticed, Dan, that we haven't really seen the Falcons use Matty Aguirre out of the backfield as an option. He's been a blocker, he's been a decoy, but he has not had a carry since early on in this game. Wilson back to pass, pumps, he's going to go long to the right side, pass is there, wide open, walking in untouched. Touchdown Falcons, Zahir Gomez. A 55-yard touchdown pass from Logan Wilson. Zahir Gomez gets into the end zone, gives the Falcons their first touchdown of the day.
One-on-one coverage down the far side. His man committed hard to it and did not come up with it. You commit that hard and you miss, it's going to be 6 for the opposition. Tequila on for the extra point.
So Carson Russell hit a long field goal earlier in this game, but it is Linnea DeKeel to attempt the extra point. Her kick is low, it is blocked. There's a flag down.
Kick is no good, however, there are flags down.
So the kick is no good. There are flags in the end zone. Looks like offside is indicated against the Lancers. So that may have had something to do with the botched extra point.
Illegal substitution, defense, 12 men on the field. We're going to replay the try at the distance of the goal, on time down.
Having a Canadian defense would also help to contribute to the block.
That's true.
They'll replay the extra point attempt.
So DeKeel will get another chance at the extra point. It's her first attempt of the day. Snap is down. This time she gets a little more air under it, and it is through. So 42-10 is the score. Falcons took that shot downfield, Dan, and as you said, the defender, I believe it was Jamison Metcalf, who went up and tried to make the interception. Just mistimed it, couldn't get there. Pass fell into the arms of Zahir Gomez, who had probably the easiest little touchdown run he will have in his athletic career.
That was the type of play that felt a lot like the Minneapolis Miracle.
A little bit, yeah. It definitely did feel like that.
They got 1 miracle, they'll need 5 more.
I did not scream the same way Joe Buck did, though. There was no, Gomez, down the sideline! None of that. Not that I'm a reserved or professional commentator or anything, perish the thought, but, it's 42-3 times, so,
With the extra point by DeKeel, she's now 11 for 13 on extra points in her career. The consistency there is what gives her that spot to kick the extra points.
But it will not be DeKeel doing the kickoffs. Instead, this time the Falcons go for the onside once again. That ball is still loose, and it finally rolls out of bounds. Fitchburg State had to wait for it to go 10 yards before they could pick it up. By the time it did, it had gone out of bounds. So Carson Russell, newly added to the team. But the Falcons keep trying things in the kicking game. Officials conferred for a long time here.
There's no flag on the field for a kick out of bounds, as the receiving team had touched it prior to it going out of bounds. The spot will be where it went out of bounds.
So a bit of a break there for the Falcons. The officials rule, I believe correctly, that a Lancer had touched the ball, meaning that it is not a free kick out of bounds. However, Worcester State still gets it inside Fitchburg territory, 1st and 10 at the Falcon 46.
Difference would have only been 5 extra yards at the end. They'll start with it 46 yards from goal. Now we'll see.
Loveless back in at quarterback. I'm sorry, Dan.
That's what I was going to say. We'll see if they commit to Loveless for the rest of the game now.
High snap. Loveless goes up, brings it down, hands off to Mells on 1st down. His run to the near side gets about a yard. Not much more than that before he's brought down. Zach Whitcomb in on the hit for the Falcons.
They'll bring Mells to 100 yards on the ground today. Aaron Moses Williams, 11 for 17, 179 yards and 4 touchdowns.
So it is the junior Mike Loveless from Nashua in at quarterback for the Lancers, probably for the duration here. 2nd down, Mells gets the carry straight through the middle. Falcon defense parted like the yellow sea for him. He got into the 2nd level before being brought down. You know, Dan, it occurs to me, this is the first time the Falcons have ever worn this all-yellow getup, and they've been absolutely slaughtered. I hope they don't decide to never wear it again, because I do like it. It is a good look.
It's not like that time when Manchester United wore those hideous, awful uniforms and were down at halftime by a lot and decided, yeah, no, this is the last time. No, these actually look good.
3rd and 1, Loveless will keep it himself, looks for a hold of the left side. He's got the 1st down and more across the 30 to the 25, still on his feet fighting for extra yardage. Finally driven out of bounds at about the 23-yard line. Well downfield, by the way, very far away from the play. There were 2 Lancer linemen gaining up on Sebastian Burmester. Burmester was not happy with it. That was well away from the play. But Loveless here just does a good job following his blocking, finding the open hole, getting that 1st down.
The line play has been really the decisive factor for me in this contest. Worcester's had so much time to work with on offense, and on defense, they've not given the Falcons that much time to work with.
1st down carry goes to Caden Constant. First time we've called his name on the offensive side of the ball, I believe.
Yep, been Constant, as we mentioned, an athlete at Leominster High School, mainly a quarterback. He's listed as a running back for the Lancers, and now he gets to take some snaps. He's had some victories here in the city of Fitchburg. Not on this field, but he gets to experience this field now.
He's going to have one today, I think. 2nd down and 8. The pass goes to Constant. Just a quick little swing route. Caden Constant's across the 10-yard line, and he is brought down. Nice catch and run for the former Blue Devil. Heard a roar from the hometown crowd for him. You mentioned there are about, 7 former Red Raiders and Blue Devils on this Worcester State team?
Combined, yes.
Lancers 1st and goal.
Constant, one of the 4 Blue Devils on this side.
1st and goal now for the Lancers. They bring in Syer James for the 1st time today. He will line up to the right of Loveless. High snap, and it is Syer James straight up the middle. He's across the 5 to about the 2 before being brought down. Nice gain for him. Syer James, the freshman from Stratford, not upon Avon as far as we know, Connecticut. Is there an Avon, Connecticut? Is it right next to Stratford, Connecticut?
I'm pretty sure there's an Avon. I don't know where it is, though.
Okay. It'll be 2nd and goal from the 2 now for the Lancers as they look for a 7th touchdown. James again to the left of Loveless, and he gets the carry. Hit at the line and driven back. Falcon defense standing tall on that exchange. I believe it was Logan Perez who made the hit for the Falcons.
He and 3 other Falcons, the ball now at the 1-yard line. It's about as close as you can get where they've spotted it without it being in the end zone.
Of course, we've seen Loveless have plenty of success in these goal line situations. He will give it to James, however, and he is in. Touchdown, Lancers. Syer James, the freshman, gets into the end zone. Worcester State spreading the love as thin as it will go. So many Lancers have gotten into the end zone today. The 7th touchdown for Worcester State.
Rodriguez in to attempt an extra point.
Lancers having a party in North County today.
On clock to Holder.
Lots and lots of touchdowns, well distributed to everyone.
Santi Rodriguez's extra point is good for the 7th time today. 49-10 is the score here at Elliott Field.
And with that 49th point, now sets a record for the most points the Falcons have conceded in the Scottsboro era.
Dan, we've seen teams put up a lot of points on Fitchburg before. As you said, 49 points, the most in the Sperone era. It feels to me, and I could just be wrong here, this is entirely anecdotal evidence. It feels to me that when the Falcons have conceded, 35, 40, in this case 49 points in the past, there have been turnovers, pick sixes, short fields, like really short fields. And there have been short fields today. Worcester State has had the ball on Fitchburg's side of the field many times. I cannot remember very many occasions where the Fitchburg State defense has just been completely incapable of stopping an opposing offense. It hasn't mattered where Worcester State's gotten the ball. With, I believe, one exception, every possession the Lancers have had has ended with a touchdown.
I'll go over 44 yards, 58 yards, 15 yards. That wasn't a touchdown. 70 was, so was 52, 69, 26, and now 46.
Easy McKnight takes the kickoff at about the 11. He'll come up the near side, look for blocks, turns the corner at the 30, but steps out at about the 33. Falcon offense will come back out on the field. They did have success on their last possession. Of course, the big 55-yard touchdown pass from Wilson to Gomez. Take another look at the return here. McKnight just looking for something on the left side.
From their own 32.
Finally had to take it out of bounds. They'll call it the 32. And I believe we will see TJ Farr.
No, we won't.
TJ Farr's on the field.
Oh, we will. Sorry, I got screwed up because it was Marcus Sorio I saw lining up on the far side. That's another quarterback.
TJ Farr under center, Quasi Boucher in the backfield. And it is Boucher on first down. Takes it up the right side for about 3. So the Falcons have brought out their second unit.
Definitely mixing it up a little bit. Quasi Boucher getting the handoff on 1st and 10. He's another one of those Worcester natives for the Falcons.
TJ Farr, of course, the regular punter for the Falcons, also the backup quarterback. He's a sophomore from Princeton, Monty Tech alum.
Took up electrical as his trade.
2nd and 6.
I formation, 3 wide receivers for the Falcons. Boucher the carry on 2nd down. Quasi Boucher, as you said, the freshman from Worcester.
Getting some blocks there from George Marino as well. A lot of different personnel on this particular drive.
I wouldn't be surprised. I think this is a fresh 11 for the Falcons.
3rd and 2.
About as fresh as you can get. They only have, I think, 8 active linemen today, so.
Yeah, a couple of linemen still out there, but.
Yep. Jonathan Ponce as well has played a lot in this game, but besides that, though, a lot of different players like Brandon Cohen on the far side. We mentioned Osorio.
Now trouble on the snap. Farr couldn't hold it. Officials indicate it's 4th down, so Farr was able to fall on it. Actually, I think it was Jacob Lufkin who came out of there with the football.
Another trade school graduate from Worcester Tech.
So a couple of decent runs by Quasi Boucher, but then the fumbled snap on 3rd down. Falcons will send out the punting unit, which means their quarterback stays on the field because, again, TJ Farr is the quarterback and the punter.
Probably the least amount of distance they've had to gain for a first down on a punt.
I understand that the Falcons are tricky. If they fake a punt on 40 when it's 49-10, I'm just going to quit. I'm just going to put down my headset and go home. Which would make me a jerk because I have to help break down the truck. But seriously, Dan, seriously, it's 49-10. Just punt the ball.
You can run it.
I'm laughing.
Yep.
Our referee's live again, but
of course he is.
I am laughing because I said before the game, if the scoreboard breaks here at Elliott Field, because last week we were at Monty Tech and the scoreboard didn't work.
That's true.
Last night I was at Wachusett doing the Wachusett Fitchburg game, and the scoreboard wouldn't work.
Of course.
And I said before the game to people, if this scoreboard breaks today, I'm just going to take off my headset and walk out of this press box.
Okay.
So the fact that you just made a similar threat, and I did not tell you that particular threat beforehand, so the fact that you've made a similar one completely out of context just got me cracking up there.
So if the Falcons fake a punt that breaks the scoreboard, there will be no more commentary for the rest of this game. That is our promise and our threat, depending on your perspective. Fard makes the rugby-style kick, taken in on the run by Drew Van Clock at about his 25. He reverses field. He's across the 40, across the 45, finally dragged down at about the 48-yard line. Drew Van Clock has had himself a very good game, the third-year sophomore from Walpole.
Easy McKnight.
It was Easy McKnight making the tackle on that punt for the Falcons.
The former Timberwolf might have been a Rebel at the time that he was at the school, but he makes the run back. And it's McKnight who has to make the tackle there. 6:55 to go in this contest, and the Lancers have a good chance to make it 50+.
Did they switch from Rebels to Timberwolves for the reason I assume they switched from Rebels to Timberwolves?
Yes.
Okay. Worcester State offense comes back out on the field. 1st and 10 for the Lancers at their own 48-yard line. Mike Lovelace remains the quarterback. Actually, no, he does not. Excuse me. Ball carrier here is Samuel Brewer. He's got a pretty good gain into Falcon territory. It was Aiden Bean who took over at the quarterback position. He's a third-year sophomore from East Longmeadow. So Worcester State getting a little bit deeper into their depth chart as well. Still having plenty of success, though. We've seen Brewer on a couple of occasions today. Looks like he'll be the primary ball carrier for the moment.
After the play, dead ball, personal foul, number 12 of the offense. 15-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Replay. Nope, the down counts.
Melky Chabot guilty of a personal foul after the play. So that's going to back the Lancers up 15 yards.
Chabot, a fourth-year junior, another player from Wachusett. He's from Paxton. He's also listed as a quarterback, so yes, this Worcester State can also use players they've designated as quarterback at positions that are not quarterback.
So it was a pretty good run by Brewer, but the personal foul by Chabot backs the Lancers up. We'll call it 1st and 20 now for Worcester State. Again, Aiden Bean in at quarterback. Hands off to Brewer coming to the near side. Gets a block, turns the corner. He's pushed out of bounds at about the 46-yard line. Into unfriendly territory, but no incidents, thankfully. Gain of about 8 for Brewer. Umpire has no idea where to spot the ball. He's like 8 yards further downfield than he should be.
Well, he heard the 46. He went to the other one. They put it on the 47.
But it is correctly spotted now on the Worcester State side of play. It's 3rd down and 11. Lancers need to get to the Fitchburg 42 to move the chains. Bean takes the shotgun snap. Play fake, rolls to his left. Lofts a pass to his left, wide open, but incomplete. Was intended for Matt Gibo. Couldn't tell if Gibo would have brought that down in bounds.
I don't think he would have.
It was a very floaty pass out of the hand of Bean. Gibo was wide open.
Freshman from Burrillville, Rhode Island. They have an ice hockey rink at Burrillville High School in Rhode Island. I know that because Nichols College plays their home games there, 15 miles away from their campus in Dudley.
Okay.
And Fitchburg State went there in 2018 for an NCAA tournament game. That was their first ever NCAA tournament game in ice hockey. And that's a story.
Fitchburg State has finally forced the Lancers to punt for the first time today. It's a high end-over-end kick. Bounces at the 20. Picked up there by Gomez. He is hit hard, driven backward.
I think that was a case where Gomez, as he saw where the ball was going, he didn't want to pick it up, but the ball bounced right into his hands and he had no choice.
Yeah. Yeah, once it touches you, you might as well pick it up and run with it, because only bad things can happen if you let it go. But the Falcons will once again be backed up deep in their own territory, and as promised, I will now tell the story of the Bees. So one time, we were here sitting up at Elliott Field. I think it was the first game of the season, but don't quote me on this. It might have been December. And there were a couple of bees about. It happens. It's New England. There are trees around. There are bees, okay? We noticed that there was a fence. There's a fence, about 25 feet behind the back of the press box here, and there was a bee's nest inside the top bar of that chain link fence. Was not fun. Handoff goes to the right side for the Falcons.
George Marino with the handoff.
Jorge Marino, the ball carrier.
Also goes by Jorge Marino. 2 different years that we've done the pronunciation videos, and he's given both pronunciations.
Sophomore from Salisbury, Maryland.
Gain of 3.
Picked up a few yards. So we find that there's a bee's nest in this fence, right? And what do? We cover the hole with duct tape. That duct tape stayed there for the entire season. Marino, the ball carrier, on second down. Gets across the 15-yard line to the 16. It'll be a gain of about 3.
Brendan Cohen, the ball carrier.
Excuse me, that was Brendan Cohen making his first carry of the day. Freshman from Arlington, Virginia.
Gain of 3.
Really? That was Cohen?
I didn't get a good look at it. We know we've seen Cohen out there on some of those snaps.
And he is lining up in the backfield, so. Marino is the fullback, Cohen the tailback. I formation for the Falcons here, 3rd and 4. Far back to pass, pumps, nothing there, rolls to his left. Trying to make something happen, looking downfield, chucks it deep and incomplete. Was finally intended for Jonathan Ponce. Tried to make something happen after the play broke down. Pass fell incomplete. Falcon offense will probably head for the sideline and send on the punting team.
So TJ Farr just rolling around looking for a little bit of time. Finds a man downfield, but just overthrows it for Ponce.
Good coverage downfield by Nolan Legere, freshman from Dudley.
As we mentioned, his Shepherd Hill Rams team will be taking on Fitchburg High School next week.
Games on back-to-back days here on FATV. Farr gets the kick away. Van Klock has to back up to about his own 40 to make the catch. And he takes it back across midfield into Falcon territory. Very good return by Drew Von Klock. There was a lot of commotion, Dan, on the near sideline involving Quinn O'Brien, freshman from Hudson. I couldn't really see what had the Falcons so upset, but they were very unhappy with him.
Indeed they were. 3:51 to go in the game, and a 39-point lead for Worcester State.
After the kick, during the return, holding, kicking team, receiving team, 10 yards from the end of the kick, first down.
So 10-yard penalty assessed against the Lancers for hold during the return. Part of the reason Mr. Von Klock was able to get such good yardage out of it.
Have they actually marked that off yet?
They have not, actually. One would think if they're going to call a penalty, they should enforce the penalty, but,
One would think that if they're going to start play, they're going to wait for the referee to get in his position behind the line instead of 20 yards downfield.
You'd think.
Everybody else was going without him.
These are all things that you would think. Now the umpire and the linesman and field judge, they're all getting together. Okay, now they're going to back down. 30 feet that way, boys. Come on. There you go.
We were talking before the game, it was when these two teams met 9 years ago that I got knocked down on the sideline.
That's true. Do you feel safer here?
Yeah.
Good.
I am not at liberty of getting knocked down.
That's true.
Lancers 1st and 10.
First and 10 for the Lancers at their own 46-yard line after they finally march off the 10-yard holding penalty. Handoff goes up the middle. Good blocking into Falcon territory. Finally spun down. That's Tyler Leno taking the handoff from Adam Hill as we go deep into the score sheet here. The entire Worcester State offensive roster getting their hands on the football here.
Tyler Leno is a fourth-year junior. He is from Paxton, which means he went to Wachusett.
Hey, how about that?
How many Mountaineers do these guys have? I should have actually looked before the game. Another new quarterback.
Hill keeps it himself. He's across the 40 to about the 35-yard line. Pushed out of bounds. 4 flags come in after the play for a very obviously late hit. It was one of the more egregious late hits you will see. And I believe there is also an injured Falcon, Luke Noyes, coming out of that hobbling.
Adam Hill, the sophomore from Lunenburg, the Blue Knights.
There you see Noyes. He may be the one guilty of the foul.
Defense late hit out of bounds. 15 yards from the end of the run. First down.
So it was a good run by Hill after the play fake. You see it there, and then he keeps it himself up to the near side, and then well after he's out of bounds. Right there, you can see he's already out, and boom, he gets hit, and there were 4 handkerchiefs on the field after that late hit. So the Falcon defense has not covered themselves in glory on the field. Now they're adding sloppy penalties to it.
And another new quarterback, by the way.
Handoff goes here to Zaire James. This is Cam Ayotte on the field, the freshman from Millbury. You wonder if maybe Hill was shaken up after that big hit.
I was looking down the roster to see, have they used all the quarterbacks yet? There's still one left on the roster in Park Hardesky.
Yep, we have not seen Park Hardesky, and that's it. We just saw Ayotte, Aaron Moses Williams, of course. We've seen Aiden Bean, Loveless. We saw Shabo, although not as a quarterback. So Ayotte takes the shotgun snap. He will keep it himself, run to the left side, try to make a man miss in the open field. A flag is thrown behind the play.
There's a flag now.
Ayotte, freshman from Millbury. Their mascot, they are the Woolies.
I see. If they dominate their opponents and kind of act like jerks, does that make them woolly bullies? Come on. It was right there.
Holding, number 28 of the offense. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Replay, the down.
Calvin Polchapak guilty of the hold, the freshman from Bellingham.
They are the Blackhawks.
Could you do this for every school on this list?
Not every school, no.
Okay.
One of my favorite mascot names, it's a shame they don't have a football team because they co-op with Lehigh School, is Lennox. They are the Millionaires.
Well, listen. Second down and 16 after the, call it second down and 20 after the hold. Ayotte's pass over the middle is complete across the 20 to about the 18-yard line. And Dan, would you believe it, the most amazing thing has happened twice, in fact. A gentleman has thrown a yellow handkerchief onto the playing surface, indicating that someone has behaved or conducted themselves in a manner that is against the written rules of American football as administered by the National Collegiate, the NCAA. Damn it, I ruined my punchline.
Nearly got there, yeah. Dylan
Almost.
Mosley, I think, had the late hit there. Tack on some more yards.
Almost. You ever see The Princess Bride?
I haven't.
Okay, that's a sin. But, so there's this scene, right, where our hero is being tortured. And the villain has a henchman, and the henchman has this very fancy torture machine. It's like his pride and joy. And it administers a lot of pain, right? If he sets it on 1, literally 1, it takes a year off of a person's life, right? It's a scale from 1 to 50. So at one point, the villain's henchman is very angry with the hero, so he cranks the thing all the way to the top. And the villain's henchman's henchman is shocked at this. He can't believe it. So he says to the villain's henchman, "Not to 50!" Anyway, Worcester State is about to put 50 points on Fitchburg, and I'm just sitting here thinking not to 50.
And just looking at the replay, Dylan Mosley led with his
Dead
head.
ball, personal foul, defense number 28, late hit. Half the distance to the goal, automatic, first down.
But fortunately, the head contact wasn't the principal point there, so just the late hit and not targeting, which I was concerned about for a moment, and that's probably what they discussed.
Yeah, you can see there, after the play is down, Mosley comes in, And this is well after he's down. Mosley had plenty of time to not deliver that hit. He should, in fact, not have delivered that hit. And the foul was correctly penalized. Now first down, handoff to the right side. Goes to Caden Constant once again.
Constant, the ball carrier.
And
You remember how we were saying we hadn't seen Park Hardesky?
we just saw Park Hardesky.
Yeah, Park Hardesky is the quarterback now for Worcester State.
With that, they have now used every quarterback
That we know
Short
of.
gain on the play.
that we know of.
Second and goal.
For all we know, that it could be that Wafik Elikis, the second-year freshman from Jabil, Lebanon, is secretly a quarterback. Second down 9. Whistles kill the play.
I almost feel like at this point they should put Constant in as a quarterback just to replicate his old role.
Well, you know.
How about Caleb Thompson? He was a quarterback at
Prior to the
Tantascwa.
snap, defensive outside contact on the defense, number 27. At the distance to the goal, replay first down.
Zaire Tebow, the freshman from Houston, guilty of the foul. All right, Westfield High School in Texas. What are they?
Yeah, no chance.
Hey, I got one that you don't.
The Westfield High School in Massachusetts are the Bombers.
Well, dang it. After the penalty against the Falcons, it'll be second down and goal from just inside the 5-yard line. Worcester State looking for an 8th touchdown of the day. Low snap, lots of trouble here. Finally getting off. Pass to the near side is complete for what's going to wind up being a loss of yards. Hardesky completing the pass to Tyler Lano.
Hardesky's pass is complete.
I'm at least happy with the broad amount of participation that Worcester State has gotten today.
It has been a chance for us to flex our quickly looking at the roster sheet muscles, I guess. I don't know. It's an adventure here in the fourth quarter.
I joked how they'd had 2 quarterbacks who had played against Fitchburg High School last year, Caden Constant and Caleb Thompson, who are now on this Worcester State roster in positions that are not quarterback. Thompson is actually out there as a receiver, his listed position on this roster.
Hardesky will loft one for the end zone on third down. That pass is incomplete, but Dan, the most amazing thing has happened. A gentleman has thrown a yellow handkerchief onto the et cetera, et cetera. There's a flag on the play.
Colin Lyons was the intended receiver, sophomore from Norton.
You made that up. Where is Norton, Massachusetts, and will they let me take my antivirus there? Apparently it's by Walpole.
I think they're the Mustangs. I'm not 100% positive on that one. But it looked like DPI is probably what the likely call would be.
Yeah, a flag thrown like that on a jump ball in the end zone usually indicates illegal contact or a defensive pass interference, something like that.
Pass interference, defense, number 48. The ball will be placed at the 2-yard line. First down.
Manny Cano, the freshman from Lowell, guilty of the foul.
Coach.
Lancers first and goal from the 2.
Scottsboro not terribly happy with the officiating crew at the moment. I have no comment.
2 yards from goal, and we'll see. Hand off to Constant to get the touchdown.
Could be. He will keep it himself, Will Hardesky. He's driven backward, finally brought down after a loss of a couple.
As if everybody knew he was going to go over there, because there was 4 Falcons to meet him on the right flank.
Cano along with Zach Whitcomb were there for Fitchburg State. Finally under a minute to play here in the torturous fourth quarter. Is that fair?
Castleton actually had the ball around this spot, around this time in the game last week, and they chose to kneel it down to finish the game.
Worcester State is not going that route. Second down and goal from the 5. Hardesky takes the shotgun snap. This time he hands it off to Constant. He breaks out of one tackle, he breaks out of another, and he is in. Touchdown, Caden Constant. The Leominster native scores here at Elliott Field as a crowd goes wild here on the near sideline.
So the Lancers, against their biggest conference rival, put up more than a half century on the green and gold.
Caden Constant from 5 yards out gives the Lancers an 8th touchdown, and with the extra point, it is 56-10 Worcester State. Dan, I think the Lancers came into this game intending to prove that they were not the team that got beat 58-21 by WPI, and perhaps not the team that got beat 76-7 by Union. They wanted to prove that they were better than that, and I would argue they have done so. They are better than that.
A decisive victory for Worcester State. They have 420 yards of offense today. 29 first downs, 8 for 10 on third down. The Falcons, on the other hand, 193 yards of total offense.
The only thing that really changed when they went down to it took the 4th and 5th string starters on offense for it to look like Worcester State was struggling, like it was hard.
And it feels weird, but Worcester State's had their most successful quarter in terms of offense. 21 points this quarter. They had 14 in the first, 14 in the third, and 7 in the second.
Well, they did score on the very first play of the 4th quarter. I do remember that. That helps.
They've had some drives.
They've had some drives.
Yeah, Caden Constant touchdown and a Santi Rodriguez extra point. Man, when do I remember those things happening?
Kyle Wall kicks it off for what, please God, will be the last time today. Taken in at the near sideline and driven down hard is Jonathan Ponce. A big hit by Nolan Legere.
Worcester State has so much from Worcester County, all these schools that I'm seeing, and they've done a good job in getting a lot of the talent from Central Mass.
No, it's a fantastic job by Adam Peliquin in his second season as head coach, and you know it obviously goes back longer than that for Worcester State.
One more new quarterback. Jacob Bradshaw
in for the Falcons. He will hand it off to Kwasi Blanchet. He will be brought down after a gain of about 8, and that will be the final play of this game. One assumes, please, dear Lord. As the final seconds tick away, a 56-10 victory for the Lancers of Worcester State. I said coming in, Dan, that this was going to be a statement game for both of these teams. Worcester State made their statement. Fitchburg State did not.
A tremendous performance for Worcester State. It was, as we mentioned before, it was very difficult to get a read on how good would Worcester State be, and the answer is, at least against Fitchburg State, they look pretty good.
They look pretty good, and like I don't think this was just a case of Fitchburg State, you know, showing up, putting their thumb up their butt, and handing the other team a 56-10 victory. Worcester State looks like a very, very good team. I was very impressed with the play of Aaron Moses-Williams, their starting quarterback. Amir Mells, had a really good game. Nico Holmes, of course, the tremendous catches, 4 touchdowns by Kevon Davis. I mean, Drew Von Klock had a fantastic game as a receiver and a kickoff return specialist. We'll take a look at some of the highlights of the second half as well. This was just a dominating game for the Falcons. A dominant loss, rather. A dominating game for the Lancers of the Falcons. You see there the extra point by DeKeel after the 1 touchdown, but it was all Lancers for the most part. Fitchburg State got that 1 big play, but other than that, it was just, you know, boom, boom, boom. How many times did we see Santi Rodriguez coming on with those extra points? That was Caden Constant, the last one. You know, the cherry on top for the Leominster native. 56-10 is the final score for the Lancers. A tremendous victory for them. And on the other side of the equation for the Falcons, Dan, wow.
I'm not really sure how to get a read on Maritime right now. They are playing against Anna Maria, and they seem to be sort of holding Anna Maria at bay. It's 14-12 to the Buccaneers, but they haven't updated the clock in a while, strangely enough, out there. And I'm not really sure where they are in that contest, but Anna Maria put 63 on UMass Dartmouth. UMass Dartmouth is currently up 29-7 over Framingham as they get close to the half. Plymouth's up 41-34 on Bridgewater. They're late in the fourth quarter in that one. I do not know how to read this conference right now.
It is a very weird conference, and the season is just getting underway, but Fitchburg State has a lot of questions to be answered. We will see some of their answers next Saturday. Again, that's a 12 o'clock kickoff here at Elliott Field as the Falcons host Mass Maritime. But before that, again, our next broadcast of Fitchburg football here on FATV, Friday, September the 23rd from historic Crocker Field as Fitchburg High School takes on Shepherd Hill. Kickoff, of course, at 7 o'clock here on FATV. Before we get out of here, we want to thank a whole bunch of people, starting with our crew. Our director today is Jared Roberts. Travis Falk, as always, running audio, graphics, and doing every last thing from the technical standpoint. Todd Govan on replay. Our camera operators today, Evan Schackenbach, Robin Como, Caitlin Mobilia, and Alyssa Fields. Thank you to all of them. Thank you as well to Nate Glennie for helping set up. Nate had to take off before the game, but we were in Jared's competent hands from the director's position, so thank you to Nate for his assistance. And Dan, why don't we thank our underwriters as well?
FATV Remote Productions underwritten by Workers Credit Union, Rollstone Bank and Trust, UMass Memorial Health, Health Alliance, Clinton Hospital, North End Subaru, Unitil, Minuteman Press, and the Sentinel and Enterprise.
Again, a 56-10 victory for Worcester State. Dan, your final thoughts from Elliott Field.
Yep. Worcester State put on a statement today. Just an impressive display of power on offense, and splitting out, going to the depth later in the game. 5 different players attempted passes for the Lancers. So many different players ran the ball. I'm trying to count quickly. 10 different players with runs.
How many players scored touchdowns? It's got to be at least, 4?
And 10 different players with receptions. Kevon Davis had 4 catches for 49 yards, and 3 of those were for scores. Dylan Hall had a touchdown catch. Drew Von Klock had a touchdown catch. And then on the ground, we saw Mike Lovelace, Sire James, and Caden Constant all find the end zone on the ground. Aaron Moses Williams threw for 4 touchdowns. Mike Lovelace had the very first one.
So 8 touchdowns for Worcester State, scored by 6 different players.
They spread the love around and then some today, and Worcester State's in the win column for the first time in 2022, and with one of their most decisive victories, I think, over Fitchburg State in a long, long time.
56-10, the final from Elliott Field. We have said the final score for the final time. Again, one last time before we get out of here, our next football telecast this Friday from historic Crocker Field. The Red Raiders take on Shepherd Hill. And then next Saturday, folks, right back here at Elliott, another 12 noon kickoff. The Falcons try to bounce back as they host Mass Maritime. Hope you join us for both of those games. But for Dan Bolak and the entire FATV crew, I am John Gogarty saying thank you so much for being with us. We will see you next time right here on FATV.